next week we can try StreamYard and see if that makes it any easier on us.
Mm-hmm. We're live, but it's private right now. I'm just gonna go in and mess with the settings and then.
Yeah, I see you say me and live stream. I'm gonna go ahead and press record, and I can cut it later.
Bet.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, you got to accept it to come for me to record, but yeah.
NBA playoff recap. Celtics-sixers. Live reactions. Power rankings. What else we got? NBA.
I got a nail I'm taking off rip.
Oh, shoot.
I might have 2. I might have 3. I got 3 I'm taking off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm taking off 3. Off the rip. And I'm taking out to one of the people that's in the 2 of the people that's in the waiting in line.
That's crazy. And the only one better be Anthony Edwards. We have to get to that early, I see.
Yeah, we have to get to that one because I'm not always like against Nick Wright. I agree with him sometimes, but I see 3 names I'm taking out. One of them do be like Dre, but I see 4. Wait. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's just 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, it's just 3. It's just I'm taking out the initial.
Okay.
I confused myself. I looked twice. Like, wait a minute, what?
Let me get the tags and
we got 33 total views on the channel too. We only got 2 videos.
Let's get it.
I'll take it.
We ain't even really promoting yet. They lucky.
I swear there's been no official ad YouTube, YouTube ad being pushed and none of that yet. We're just posting on our stories for real. Side note, one thing I hate about 2K is this late stage of the game, like when you got playoff cards out that are pink diamond and these galaxy opals, etc. Do not give me you got a special card shake for an amethyst, the 90 overall. And when you pay to play and somebody got 14 98s already, that's like special. I'm selling that card. I'm just saying, it's like because they give me the special shake, like, oh, you got a 90 overall. I'm not using that card this late in the game. They gave me AK-47. I'll take that.
Okay. Last thing I'm doing is sending you the link. We're about to go public with it. And let me send this to some folks.
Okay, I see it. But that's scared she got COVID.
So she got COVID?
She's scared she got COVID because her dad said that his throat feel funny. And he ain't had COVID yet. And now her throat feel funny. It's like, oh boy.
I don't know, COVID ain't real no more.
Allegedly. Because the pandemic is over just because they're tired of people. Because they've been stopped paying people for not going to work. They've been stopped. They don't want to tell nobody, but they've been stopped.
All right, let me see real quick. Can people click a link from your story on IG?
I think so. From your story, I'm not 100% sure.
Put it in the bio.
Bio would be better. And just say link in bio for live or something. Now that's not bad. Quick. Yeah, I just got a card for somebody that I'm taking out of the top 12. Actually, I got 2. I'm taking out of the top 12. It's kind of crazy, but I got to. You don't deserve to be there yet, Nick. All of their own. Well, one of them just because. Yeah, we gonna talk about this. I'ma save it for the pod.
All right. Everybody's saying it. Say private. Let's get live. Come on, Joe. We almost.
It do say the video is private, so I'm not into.
It
I think
is.
it might be loading.
No, I gotta hit save and then we go. I'm trying to say.
Ooh, Karl Anthony Town gets honest about the Rudy Gobert trade.
Excuse me. Oh, what the hell? Oh. All right, Dre, you ready?
Ready? You ready to press the jump so we can record?
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit save. You kicking us off?
All right. Oh yeah, I can do that. I can take the hosting duties today.
My God, hitting save. We going live now, buddy.
All right. Check one, check one. Can you hear me? Are we live? Is it live? Is it Memorex? Welcome back to another episode of the Hoops and Henny Podcast. I am your part of your co-hosting duties. I'm Dre. Brother Joe, how's it going today?
What's good with y'all? Welcome back to the Hoops and Henny Podcast. We are live on YouTube. I hope, think we got everything saved. Got a lot of exciting things to get into today, so let's get into it.
Oh right. I forgot the byline. The only podcast where we clickbait you and say we're talking about Al Horford only, but then people don't read the thumbnails and say the Celtics too. We got our first comment where somebody said, "Hey, Al Horford is the Embiid stopper," and then proceeded to get cooked the immediate next game. You know what? Daily podcast regular Aloysius slander. 0 for 7 after after being upset at a reporter laughing when you said you're an elite shooter. Elite shooter? All right, moving on.
That was a bad look for our boy Al Horford.
Our boy,
He was
his boy.
definitely tried to laugh the reporter out, went up and put a big goose egg up there. 0 of 7, 0
Doing
points.
his best Tony Snell.
Hey, you know, Celtics and Sixers are live right now, though. I'm sure he's going to get his get back tonight.
He better. He's playing himself out of the rotation actively. But Robert Williams ain't. He's not what he used to be, even like already defensively. So yeah. In fact, since we're here, let's just transition immediately. Celtics and Sixers, Joe. What you got? Who you got tonight? I'm not even turning the game on. I'm scared.
Well, as we're recording right now, there's 5 minutes left in the fourth. The Sixers are up by 2 current. We're going to have to come back to that game after it finishes up because there's going to be a lot of conversations to be had depending on how this game goes. Quick rundown of what we have on the docket too, by the way. Definitely going to do some NBA playoff recaps. Our boy Nick Wright, first things first, he let out his club superstar, 12 best players in the league, or I guess superstars in the league. We're going to review that and make our changes or if we have any gripes with it. We have the WNBA power rankings that came out this past week from ESPN.
Very interesting.
A little bit of a spoiler. Our Mystics came in at 3rd, but that's okay. That's okay. We're gonna have something to say about that. And then we got the All NBA defensive team, All NBA first, second, and third team. We'll get into. So, one of these series that you want to start with, right?
Let's go ahead since we were there. Just start with these series recaps. This is the only podcast you'll see a Celtics fan actively slander the Celtics. As I said last pod and the pod before that, and I've been saying all year, I thought Joel Embiid was going to be the MVP. I also thought that the Sixers, not the Bucks, were the best team in the East this year, but the Celtics were the clear second best. And I know The Bucks had the number one record, but when Giannis wasn't there, they weren't playing well. So I stand on that. I also stand on that it's a problem that Derek White was our third best player. And I stand on the fact that I did just say last week that we have two All NBA performers, and we do have two All NBA performers. Congratulations to Jaylen Brown. Now you can get 291 max, 4 or 5 year max. I think he's a better player. Jason Tatum now has it. He can get the 5 year, 3 something. We got to win this game. We got to win this game, or else I might start tooting that horn of somebody got to go.
Again, we want to come back to this after this game wraps up. I will just say, looking at the stats right now, Jason Tatum has 7 points with 5 minutes left in the fourth. Marcus Smart is leading the way with 20. Jaylen Brown at 17 and Malcolm Brogdon with 16 for the Celtics.
All right, guys, it's been the Hoops and Henny Podcast. I'm retiring. Oh, my God.
There's a lot of pressure on the Celtics to win this series. We're going to have some serious conversations about changes that are going to be made if they do not. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I got a hot one waiting. If we lose this game, I got a hot one waiting.
We're not getting ahead of ourselves because they could come back, win the series, go on to win the finals.
I don't want them to prolong the inevitable. I don't want them to tease me no more, Dre. Joe. I just can't take it. But go ahead, yeah. We gonna come back to that game as it ends. I'm gonna pull it up, and see what's cracking. I will say the biggest thing that's changed is the coaching and the lack of defensive rotations. The defense is. I know we've been we've been higher up. This game is like the way we play defense now is compared to last year is very bad. Objectively bad.
You think that's sorry, let me pause it. We're going to come back to Celtics and Sixers. Don't worry.
Yes.
Lakers, Warriors. Last night, the Warriors were able to get game 5. Yeah, game 5. Series now 3-2 going back to LA. Quick prediction. Game 6. Do the Lakers go ahead and finish it up? Do the Warriors steal another game?
That's probably one of the more contentious series, but I don't know that they want to prolong this series either. Because if you give the Warriors too many chances, it's championship pedigree on both sides. I'm gonna say if the Lakers win the series at all, it'll be finished tomorrow. So I'm gonna say the Lakers, and I'm gonna say they're gonna win. I'm gonna say by like 11.
Don't think it'll be close. Quite honestly, I think I'm a little bit in agreement. Anthony Davis went down last night with a injury to the head.
Mm-hmm. No concussion though, which is good.
Yeah, no concussion. He is slated to play game 6. He went out in a wheelchair. I personally think that he was just trying to get some extra rest. I don't think they were planning to really finish it off last night, though they should have been. I think it's going to be dominant. I think it's going to be reminiscent of what they did to Memphis in game 6 coming back to LA. I don't think they're going to blow them out that bad, but I think AD is going to have another dominant game. I think LeBron's going to, do his thing as he has been. And a couple of the bench guys are going to come along for the ride.
Yeah, I think Lonnie Walker, this is the game for the others. It's either going to be a game where the stars show up, AD, Bron, or the others are going to show out. Like Lonnie Walker had 15 the other night when they won. They're going to need him. They're going to need somebody else to step up.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see Lonnie Walker having another performance like that. I think Dennis Schroeder and probably, I feel like Roy hasn't had either Roy or Austin Reeves. They're going to come and have another breakout game.
I think so. Yeah, Rui's due for I won't say, yeah, he's due for a show up, like a good to great performance. But he's been playing his role well, which is what they needed. But I think it's time because they're gonna hunker down on Bron and AD. They're not going to let them beat them tomorrow.
I do agree with that. I just don't think they have anything that they can really do with Anthony Davis, especially. Again, game 6, when they were playing Memphis and he dunked over Jaren Jackson, that Lakers team right there, when they're playing
that was a turning point.
It is going to take a lot to slow them down.
Sounds like definitely was a turning point in the series. Or in the Lakers period, I think that was a light bulb switch moment for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Gotcha. So it sounds like we both have Lakers there, and they're going to go ahead and move on to the Western Conference Finals to stay in the West Coast and then go from a team like the Lakers, who seemingly has plenty of depth and can get a good performance from almost, 4 or 5 down their bench, onto the Phoenix Suns, who have absolutely no bench for real, and the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets most recently just went up 3-2. I believe they have the 10 o'clock game tonight. So there's a good chance that series could finish tonight, or we could be going to game 7 back in Denver. Who do you have tonight, Dre?
I am going with the Nuggets. I know last week I called that game right. That if they were going to win a game, it would be that one. But if the Suns were going to take a game, it would have been last week. But minimal dog. You know how I feel about Devin Booker. Not the hugest fan. No disrespect to Kevin, but nah, not really. And they have someone I'm about to put on bus alert. DeAndre Ayton violating the name of DeAndre's across the land. He's out tonight, by the way. So Jokic. Really? So he's playing? What's the dude's name? Landale.
Jock Landale or something like that. Let me.
Is he starting? Is he starting center tonight? Because Jokic might just have he might have a Luka 60, 20, and 20.
I mean, yeah, Jock Landale, yes. And I mean, he may have just done that anyway. What's going on with DeAndre Ayton?
Minimal dog. Chihuahua. I don't think he does. We already called it. He didn't want to be in Phoenix anyway. And then they gave him his money. And I get it. It's harder to replace somebody like that. But I think this time it actually is an injury. I think it's a rib contusion. Yet and still, it's the playoffs. I get it. It's like, oh, you don't want to always say it was the playoff. Don't. See, we got lucky on that. But PJ Tucker just front rimmed a corner 3-pointer. But no, I don't think we have. I don't think Phoenix didn't have enough. Chris Paul being out, they miss his playmaking, like seriously miss his playmaking. But because Devin Booker isn't a natural facilitator, they don't have as many options. Mikal Bridges is a better defender than Kevin Durant, and the Nuggets have somebody that could technically go shot for shot with Kevin and Michael Porter Jr. At least in efficiency, they're better in efficiency. Michael Porter Jr. is one of the best 3-point shooters in the league this season, percentage-wise, like efficiency-wise. He don't get many opportunities. He shot like 57% from the left wing. The left wing 3 with Jokic passing to him, he was the 57% 3-point shooter.
Okay.
I'm saying at least in efficiency. Like the whole idea is Kevin Durant, you want him to – he's one of the most efficient, big scorers, but I don't know that they have enough. I don't trust Devin Booker. They're missing a big body that they could throw at Jokic. I think the series is over. I'm going to say Jokic 25, 10 and 7. I'll say 10 and 7, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. They win by like 12, 14, like convincing enough fashion, but that series is over.
No, interesting. Last week, I was the one who said that I thought the Suns were going to get swept. I thought that Devin Booker and Kevin Durant were great basketball players, and they had absolutely nobody else to help them.
And I said they had enough for one game.
The thing is, we weren't completely wrong. They didn't have enough, but somehow they were able to steal 2 games. So I'm probably going to condemn them here tonight and say that I actually think the Suns are going to steal a game 6 at home.
Really?
Go back to Denver.
And then lose?
Yes.
Then they go prolong the inevitable.
Yeah, I think Devin Booker. Listen, Phoenix, let's be honest. They need to still restock, get some tools in this offseason. I think Devin Booker and KD can run it back. I don't know about Chris Paul. He might need some crutches or have him sit out the whole year, just have him play the playoffs. I'm not sure what to do with him yet.
Did you see Devin Booker play?
No, I don't have the game live.
Okay, we won't talk about that. If they win this game, they just gave it away. Go ahead.
Devin Booker, I think he's going to have another monster performance as he has been so far this postseason, but overall for the series, just not going to be enough.
I wholeheartedly agree.
last series that we'll go ahead and cover real quick. Again, coming back to Celtics and Sixers. Knicks, Heat. The Knicks last night as well stole Game 5 at home. I guess I can't say they stole it. They were leading the majority of the night. The Heat, man, I'm telling you, they just keep finding a way to stay around in these games. But they were able for the first time to hold Jimmy Butler under 20 points. Knicks going back to Miami. Do you think they'll be able to turn this series around?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm standing on the feeling that I said it was a week or two ago. Like if they lost Game 2, because like that was like it's just Jimmy Butler. Like Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin are getting the most screen time and touches they've gotten since high school, respectfully. Right? Like these guys, yes, they are all NBA players. The whole idea is if you give anybody a chance, anyone can beat you. Yet and still, it's just like as superstar or like stars on their respective teams, best players. Technically speaking, the Knicks have more better players. At least I won't even say eye test wise, but like name wise, etc. But then when they play together, Miami has better chemistry. I thought if they lost the Game 2, like if they didn't tie it up immediately, the Knicks weren't going to win this series, and I'm going to stand on that. I'm going to stand on that one. And it's no disrespect to all respect to Jalen Brunson. He is way more consistent than I think we gave him credit for. You could argue he was a much bigger part of Dallas's success while he was there. Because where is he in? Because he's been a key piece of the Knicks all season. He's in the playoffs. Luka has been hookah Doncic for the last 2 months now. And that man didn't even touch the playoffs. So all respect to Jalen Brunson. He had a hell of a game last night and a lot of praise. All 48 minutes. That is premium conditioning and got 38 points. That's damn near a point a minute. That's all-star. That's the stuff that we praise Kevin Durant for. And I'm not saying on the same level, but scoring ability-wise, it's nothing to sneeze at, but I don't think they have enough to pull it out. They got a lot of pieces. They're still young, but you got a lot of redundancies. You got like Obi Toppin is just a shorter, more bouncy version of Mitchell Robinson. And Mitchell Robinson isn't as offensively inclined as Obi Toppin. They don't get a lot of minutes. They don't get a lot of touches. Julius Randle is solid. He's improved a lot, but he sometimes settles too much, shoots a little too much, like from the three. For me, like he's still huge. He plays well, but I don't think they have enough. At least for the way Miami plays together, I don't think they have enough to win this series. Oh wow, did they call a foul on that?
They look appalled at the call there. Look, let me just say this. Jimmy Butler's overrated. I said it. I don't care. All right. Playoff Jimmy, yes, he's got some great performances. The man is overrated, okay?
Okay,
He's
okay,
a
I'll
good
let you
player,
have it.
not a great. I mean, he's a pretty great player right now.
Save it, because we got it. Because allegedly he was in somebody's list for waiting to get in.
Okay, fair enough. We're gonna get into
We're
that.
gonna save it. Yeah, we're gonna save the slander. We're gonna save it.
As a Wizards fan, who the Heat are a division rival, there's nothing I want more than the Knicks to be able to turn this around. Win Game 6 in Miami, get back home, and take the series.
But I don't want the Knicks to win either, because the Knicks, they're a toxic fan base. Could you imagine Stephen A. Smith?
Nobody's worried about Stephen A. Smith. Listen, I think the Heat are going to win in Game 6 here in Miami. They were resorting to the hack of Mitchell Robinson. I was like, okay, this is the team right here. They're going to do anything to win. I can respect that. So I think the Heat are going to go ahead and wrap it up as well. It is good. I'm a fan of history, you know. I feel like the NBA is better when certain teams, the Lakers, the Celtics, even the Knicks. I think it's just better when those teams are good and competing. But they're going to have some changes and some thoughts in the offseason as well. You can kind of tell, even watching last night, getting the win. Again, they just kind of, I don't know. They still just seem like they're a few pieces away.
Yeah, indeed. They're playing their butts off. The last time they touched the playoffs was Carmelo, and that was literally Carmelo putting the team on his back. And Iman Shumpert and JR doing their damnedest. The last leg and ankle of Jason Kidd. So That was the last time they were like relevant in the playoffs. So I'll give them that. They are playing. They deserve the respect. They deserve our respect as NBA fans. But I don't want. I just don't want Stephen A. and Spike and what's the dude's name? Michael Rappaport. Could you imagine? He just became unearthed this year because the Knicks are halfway good. We didn't hear from him from 3-4 seasons.
And there wasn't much to talk about, you know.
Well, hey, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, now let's circle back. At least from what I'm seeing here, it's about 95-84, less than a minute left in the fourth. I don't know if the game has ended in live time as you're watching, but let's go ahead and jump into Celtics and 76ers. Now, Jason Tatum finished, it looks like it's about to finish with 19 points. So that was 12 points in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, he got 16 this quarter. And one of them over the MVP, Joel Embiid. Now, see, who was that random that we just allowed to score? See, this is part of my problem. The game is effectively over. The final score looks like it's going to be 95-86. I can retain my current slander that I was about to give out. So Marcus Smart. Go ahead.
We are at an impasse right now. The Celtics and 76ers, yes, there's a big rivalry. But I think both of these teams, if they're looking at their rosters, one of these teams has to lose, unfortunately. And whichever team loses, I feel like a big change is going to have to happen. If the Celtics lose, this tandem of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, somebody's got to go. If the 76ers lose, Joel Embiid, James Harden, somebody, most likely James Harden, has just got to go. But who's going to replace that aspect of the offense?
Tyrese Maxey.
I mean, that's what the assumption is there, but
they already have the answer for that.
Well, then who's replacing Tyrese Maxey?
You can find somebody.
Yeah, you can.
Tyrese Maxey is better. Tyrese Maxey is better than James Harden right now. The 76ers are worlds better with him in the offense and him starting than they are with him coming off the bench. Defensively, they're both the same. James Harden has the ability, but Tyrese Maxey has been more consistent this season than James Harden. He's younger.
That's the big problem with James Harden. James Harden is definitely older as well. He's only finishing with 13 tonight. So let me take a step back. Game 7 coming up, based off of the last couple of games and last week when we last talked. Who do you see coming away with the series?
I'm speaking with my heart in my head.
With your head.
My head? My head is telling me that we're going to win this game. My heart is telling me we're going to fold. And I know that sounds crazy. My head logistically makes all the sense of like this is our, if we don't win it this year, we have to blow it up. I won't say we have to, but we haven't been. Well, that's the thing. We have to. I feel like they would try to blame coaching first and then the players, because we've already been to the finals or the conference finals with this tandem when they were younger. They're both way better now.
This is my only from an outside perspective, my only problem with that, right?
Okay.
I understand, and I actually kind of agree that it probably is coaching. I don't think that the coaching this season was as good as Ime Udoka had last season. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't have fired him if that was the case, regardless of what was going on. We won't get into that. But the thing is, this is already 3 coaches with the same players at this point. Brad Stevens to Ime Udoka to I'm blanking on the coach's name right now. Joe Mazzulla. I mean, how many coaches are we going to go through before we just think, oh, maybe these set of guys just can't win it all?
Well, I would. Okay, here's my thing. If we happen to lose this series, right? And this is kind of peeking into like at the end of every series, we're going to give you, like we did the end of round 1, like moving forward, what the next steps are, what we think every team should do moving forward to improve, right? I would think first you stay with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. As I said, they are, in theory and in actuality, they work very well together. I think it's As a team, when we shoot like 40%, I just heard it this morning. But it's like I heard it this morning, but it's like when we shoot 40% as a team from the three, we are we're like 32-8 or something like that. Like we're beyond plus in the win column. Then when we shoot anything other than that, we're like 28-29 or 29-28. We're like 500 basketball. I would look more so at moving around some of the smaller pieces, quote unquote, than before we take the step of trading Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
Because those two guys can work, right?
Okay. Now, let me just put this small caveat. Jaylen Brown is up for his contract renewal, correct?
Right.
Now, he just hit the All-NBA team, meaning he is eligible for the Supermax.
Right. So I think it's 4 years, 291.
It's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to tie, I hear what you're saying, play around with some of the role players, even though you have the sixth man of the year, play around with the bench. But once you commit that much money to your two stars, it's going to be hard to move off of them, especially if they don't have the success that you're looking for.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to mess with them. You have to do better with the pieces around, right? So, prime example. PJ Tucker right now is better than Al Horford.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you had to give me a team, like a teammate to like, I'm building a team and I want quote unquote a versatile defender with the ability to make 3-pointers, right? With the ability to shoot the ball or just like stay in the corner, be out of the offense, be quote unquote out of the way, right? Just play hard. I'm picking PJ Tucker before Al Horford. This isn't Al Horford's slander in this moment. This is just team building, right? Like so you look at Anthony Davis and LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's those two guys. And then Austin Reeves might have a night. As you said, Rui is due for, like we said earlier, Rui is due for a night. He had a big game a couple games ago in the Grizzlies series, right? Lonnie Walker had 15 in the fourth. Like he got hot, you know. Who else they have over there? Wenyen Gabriel comes in and always gives energy, right? You know those two guys are going to give you their 20-7, their 25-8. When Anthony Davis puts up 30 plus, like a 30-12 game, like Shaq-like numbers, quote unquote, lack of a better term, and then one person comes along, they're almost unbeatable so far in the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is like, but the role players kind of know their role. Right now, you have two wing guys, right? So I heard it earlier, I think it was JJ Redick, but he made it the most valid point in that when your two best guys are wing guys, you're going to get the two best defenders on them, right? So we need people. I'm not trying to be funny. You know, you can leave Al Horford open. Like it's like, oh, if Al Horford beats us tonight, we know he's not going to shoot. We know he's not going to make 5 3-pointers next game, and he hasn't done it outside of that one game. Okay, like last game when PJ Tucker. I'll put it this way: we straight up leave PJ Tucker alone in the corner, right? But PJ Tucker is going to rotate. He's going to communicate. He's going to call out. He may not get 7 rebounds, but he is impacting the game, right? That guy, he might take 3 shots a game. He's okay with that. And sometimes he makes it, sometimes he misses them, but they can win without his offense, right? We need those guys. Right now, we are relying on a 30, how old is Al Horford? 37, 38 right now? 36, 37?
I think 36. I can do a quick check.
We are relying on, regardless of age right now, an older player, right? To be to guard, to be the primary defender on the MVP, the most valuable player, right? Who is not just a back to the basket player. So laterally, he can take Al Horford off the dribble. Joel Embiid isn't a speed demon by any means. But he can take Al Horford off the dribble. He can shoot the 3-pointer at a respectable clip. Like you have to at least step out on him. And then he can also be a bully in the paint. So you're relying on him to but then so Al Horford has a higher skill set, but then his backup is who? Robert Williams. Robert Williams right now, if you don't get him a lob or he doesn't get an offensive rebound, offensively, he's nothing. I'll say not nothing, but I'm sure he'd cook us. But in the league, his usage is that much less on the offensive end. So now the league. So now any defenders know, like, oh, we can basically leave him alone. If he rotates out of the paint, he's not. He can't what's it called, and then he's not able to stop Joel Embiid either or slow him down even.
Okay, I have a couple of points. As you're a
Go ahead.
resident Celtics expert here, so we got to let you cook because you have the most knowledge here. Well, three things. First, did not know Blake Griffin was on the team.
Yeah. So at the end of the season, he had a couple of good moments, but he's not.
Do you think it's coaching? I'm just thinking from like last year, their finals run. Robert Williams, Grant Williams. I feel like these were key contributors. I know Robert Williams has been dealing with some injuries. Not even dealing with. He's kind of always just banged or nicked up a little bit, so that's kind of I think affected him in the rotation.
Yeah, I would say it is injury based for Robert. Before the injury, Robert Williams was on trajectory to be like like a pluser version of Mitchell Robinson. This isn't disrespecting Mitchell Robinson either, but he's a
I think he
lob
was
threat.
the NBA in blocks in the playoffs last year. I might have just made that stat. He was
because
definitely present.
Yeah, he was definitely. So his is more so because of injury. It's not just he just fell off. It is more injury or like nicked up, getting back in the rotation, that sort of thing. Go ahead. You have one more. I'm sorry.
And then the last thing is I was going to say, I hear you on, Al Horford. I think it's time for him to go ahead and hang it up. He's had a great career. He's remade himself from his early Atlanta years. And, he always can kind of play around with the bench. I personally, and this is just for me kind of watching the Celtics-sixers series, there's just something off with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I don't know exactly how to describe it. There was one game earlier in the series where Jaylen Brown went crazy in the first quarter, then proceeded to take 3 shots the rest of the game. What is that? Is that just being upset with the organization? Is he ready to go? There have been times where Jason Tatum has just kind of disappeared, or he's kind of putting up his numbers, but it just has no impact. I was watching when they just played game 6, so game 5, when Philadelphia won in Boston. And there are just certain moments, and of course, Joel Embiid is the MVP, but just hitting certain shots or getting to the line and key moments, the chase down block on Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum has had amazing moments, don't get me wrong, but it just seems kind of like hit or miss, depending on each night what version we're going to get. And I think when your lead 2 guys are in whatever sort of thing that they're in right now, it affects the entire team.
This is where I would say it's coaching. Right? Now, I put it to you this way. I think because you made a valid point. We've had 3 different coaches, but we still have kind of like the same players. To an extent, we do have the 6th man. We have a former DPOY. We got 2 All-NBA performers. I said I wouldn't move off of them because it's hard to get that quote-unquote homegrown talent. You already got 2 of the guys. Out of the 15 quote-unquote best players in the league, you have 2 of them, at least according to the All-NBA teams, right? And 2 All-Stars. So you don't have to look any further than quote-unquote them as the leaders of your team, right? But right now, I feel like it's coaching because we're not using the others correctly, or we don't have the right others. Because let's say Al Horford was, I'll keep using his name, but he's like the player that we better, right? Grant Williams, right? Grant Williams, he wasn't really quote unquote a huge key piece last year, but he shot more consistently and he was better for certain matchups, right? Grant Williams, if you look at him, he has like kind of like a different build. He's long defensively, but laterally he's not really quick enough to keep up with most wing people or like wing players or perimeter players, right? So Al Horford is a little taller, a little more experienced, etc., right? So Grant Williams is a better shooter than Al Horford, but then defensively, he's not even where Al Horford is right now, right? But if he was maybe a little bit better defensively, then we could have him running some of those screens with Jason Tatum, with Jaylen Brown, and then the defense has to second guess. Like, do I want to collapse on Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, even Marcus Smart if he has the ball? Like, there isn't a lot of coaching moments where I feel like where those 2 get easy buckets. So like I think too much we go isolation because it's like, oh, you know how it is. Did you play in basketball? The offense starts getting stagnant. You stop playing team ball, or
Mhm.
there's like you start playing team ball. You start playing like isolation. Like whoever the best player is, hey, you take it, make something work, right? And they have the ability to do that, but those lows, quote unquote, because it's okay that Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown takes 10, 10 to 12 shots in the first quarter, and Jason Tatum kind of can sometimes just be a part of the offense or just like be a part of. But when the others that you have on the court, or there aren't any ways for them to get easy buckets or to make the defense second guess and you make the right decision with the ball, that's when, like, perfect example, um, Chris Chris Paul had I think he said when he was in New Orleans with Byron Scott, first play of the game, no matter who they played, they ran a screen and roll to see how that team was responding to it off the rip, right? So automatically he knows. So like Chris Paul recognizes, okay, cool. They're either hedging everything, they're switching everything, whatever the case may be, right? So that way you automatically have a sense of now you're going to attack that until they adjust. So you attack that quote unquote mismatch. I don't feel like we have our two best options aren't point guards, so that's a part of it. But then we don't have set plays to get to use the others correctly. The whole idea of when you have two stars, you can use them, but they don't. I think they said the stat was in these playoffs. Jaylen Brown has set like 9 on ball screens for Jason Tatum or vice versa,
Mm.
but that's a problem because if like you're bringing the other best defender to the other best player, if that makes sense. Like if me and you are on a court and we're playing two younger, like we usually want to play younger people. We old, respectfully we old, but in fact when we played ball last time, me and you like we know like I have a more of a penchant to shoot. You go inside more, but we can watch it come right. But we can recognize okay, like off rip, we play basketball, right? Like so, we have to think the game to win some of these games because we not some of these kids are 6'4", 17 years old dunking from the hash mark. It's like, yo, what are you doing right now? But we didn't get dunked on, but kids they age do because they just playing basketball. We have to think the game too. I don't think there's enough thought in the game from the people on the court and then the people that are making, and then like the coaching staff as well. Because me and you can run the screen, and I know like if he's squatting all over here, what's it come? I know we played enough, right? I know I can put the lob pass into the paint over. You going right to your left hand for a layup, or your right hand, like what's it come? Or I can or you hold the ball in the corner. I can loop around, and I can get a 3 off. But that's because we have to think about these things, or set a screen and know, hey, cut, get a slip screen. We don't have enough of that.
Well, y'all, this is extremely concerning because these are professional athletes, professional basketball players, professional coaches. And if you're saying that no, they're not thinking about that, somebody's got to get fired. So
I don't think they're thinking the game enough. That's why I said I think they look at coaching and then the others. Because Grant Williams is good, but Grant Williams has to work on his defense. Al Horford is out there because defensively he's a decent option, but then offensively he can sell us. That was my point about like PJ Tucker. You know he's going to bring defensive intensity and effort every night. And then if he happens to make a few shots, A plus. The man has been a winner and been on winning teams or winning culture or changing cultures because of it, right? That's why every team seeks him out. That's why he is an NBA champion, right? Al Horford, I'm not like respectfully, PJ Tucker might know he only taking 3. He might go 0 for 0. Al Horford is going to shoot the ball more than no times, right? And then he doesn't give the same effort or doesn't set the same screen and make you think, oh, I'm going to roll hard to the rim and make the big second guess. So when they do switch, oh crap, right? I'm just saying. I'm not trying to slander him in this moment.
I was gonna say I apologize. This podcast is turning into that Al Horford hate weekly.
I'm using him because I keep using him because he is
a bum,
a much larger piece. He's a much larger piece of our offense than he technically should be. At least in my opinion. In my opinion, he's been a much larger piece of our offense than he should be. But then that's also on people like Grant Williams. Robert Williams, I can't give too much flack to is the MVP, and he's coming off of like trying to get back, quote unquote, in basketball shape. And he might not ever be quite the same, because he was a player that was mostly relying upon his ooh, who is that? Kentavious? That's crazy. He got the steal and then went under the rim for a reverse layup. I'm sorry, that's kind of crazy. It's a good game so far. But
I appreciate your analysis on the Celtics here.
yeah,
Again,
that was a lot. My bad. I'm sorry. It's the Celtics.
all
I'm
good,
sorry.
all good. We're going to Game 7. We are going to revisit this. We're going to probably have a long discussion next week as well, depending on who loses and what that team is going to need to do. But we'll get there. Suns Nuggets are underway now. Good game so far through the first quarter. Looks like they're dead even from what I'm seeing here on Google. 17-14 Nuggets.
They playing hard. I'm watching what I've seen. They playing hard. Jock Landale already got a dunk off.
Might be looking to take a starting job next year.
He might have Pitbull instead of Chihuahua, like the center who not playing.
All right, y'all. We are going to transition. We're going to go into Club Superstar. All right. Our boy Nick Wright, first things first, each year comes out with his Club Superstar. The best.
Is this the new one?
This is the new one. Yes. I don't know.
He tweeted something different. Go ahead.
I guess we're just going to say superstars, all right? The NBA is a superstar league. You need to have one to win a title, at least one, if you ask me. I'm going to just do a quick recap of who he has in this year. Oh, another thing. Exclusive club, 12 in. 12-person club, one person in, one person has to come out. So from the top, just going to list, because this is in cartoon version, who we have here. Anthony Davis making his way back in after being kicked out last year. We have Giannis, LeBron James, Damian Lillard, Luka Doncic up in the top right, didn't make the playoffs. Middle row, we have Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Steph, KD, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, a new addition this year. At the bottom on the right, what you're seeing is Chris Paul and Kawhi Leonard. Those are the two who were in last year but kicked out this year. I personally agree with those two exits.
Wholeheartedly.
On the left side is we have essentially the line for who's trying to get in the next year. So first we have John Morant, who was in last year and apparently left out but can't get back in now. Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, Shea Gilgeous.
Left his money too, oddly enough.
And Anthony Edwards. Yeah, John. Well, that's the club. There's a lot I think that we're going to have to say about this. Anywhere you want to get started?
Okay, so I accidentally found last year's list because he tweeted it, but he didn't tweet this year's, I guess, because it might be still too fresh. I'm looking at two people I'm taking out off rip, and that line for next up, I'm only looking at two people that might stay. But go ahead. I'm gonna let you start. I'm gonna let you start with this.
Okay. So here are my first thoughts. Anthony Davis, I think, is definitely creeped back in. Giannis, LeBron, that's fine. Damian Lillard, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to get him out of Club Superstar. I don't think it's not that he's not a great player, but when is the last time Portland has
done anything?
I mean, I know they've been in the playoffs, but have they really ever been? I don't know. I just feel like Damian Lillard is no longer a superstar. I think he could be a very important piece on a good team, but he's going to need to leave Portland. Moving on down. Jokic, yes. Embiid, yes. Steph, of course. KD is getting kind of sketchy, if I'm being honest with you. He's been playing.
Really?
I think he's still in the club this year. But this might be his last year, is all I'm saying, depending on what Phoenix is looking like next year.
Okay, pause. I'm going to stop you. Damian Lillard, wholeheartedly agree. Absolutely no argument. Love Dame to death. Love Dame to death. Play style, great. It's hard to, stay true to the grind, etc. One of the purest shooting strokes ever. Great shooter. Superstar means winning. Superstar means consistency, right?
Yes.
And so LeBron being there, no problem.
Listen, there's a
Giannis,
lot of pressure on being a superstar. You are wholeheartedly expected to almost get through certain series by yourselves in the playoffs if you have to.
mm-hmm.
But sorry, go on.
So with that being, well, I'm gonna let you finish. But Dame, you have no argument here from me. Kevin Durant, you made an interesting what you call. You said that it's sketchy. So out of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, who would you replace him with?
Hey, this is what my prediction is going to be: is if KD is still having like some injuries and not as efficient as he once was, Devin Booker's carrying the Suns right now. I think it's going to be Shea. I think Shea is a baller. I think
Okay,
he's
all right, we in agreement.
I think that OKC, first of all, has endless draft picks. They have a good squad already, and they're
They're gonna
just
wind up having a demonic squad for the next decade.
the only question is going to come down to ownership and how much they're paying those players. I mean to like retain the squad that they're building up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the way that if I had to do a guess, I would probably say it's going to be Shea taking the spot.
Okay.
Uh, let,
Who,
and let
who
me
who
go.
else you got?
Yeah, let me go ahead and finish. Devin Booker, of course. Jason Tatum, of course. I'm personally just not big on Jimmy Butler. I understand he has great playoff performances, and that's what it's all about, honestly. But at the same time, I guess we're gonna have to see how these play out. I can't be mad at him being in there right now.
Okay.
But actually, yeah, I kind of do have a problem. I understand what Nick was trying to say with John Morant being like kicked out, but John Morant's a superstar, flat out.
No, we're not.
What are your thoughts, Dre? Because that's
All
just
right. All right.
how is
So
John
this
Morant
is
not a superstar?
all right. So I can start with that one. John Morant is not a superstar because we're talking about winning and consistency. Oh, I'm not. Oh, I'm gonna cut some people up because if this is the standard I'm holding, there's about to be a whole bunch of names not in this jump.
Consistency.
Winning and John Morant is a skinnier, injury-prone version of Zion.
I knew he was gonna say that. He's not wrong either.
They just happened to draft the guard version of Zion that's not 300 pounds, that ain't built like me. That's what that's what they did.
We haven't seen Zion in the playoffs though.
But that's the thing. We've also seen Ja in the playoffs. What has it led to?
But Ja's still young. You can't do that.
True, but he's not in club super. He's not club superstar right now. He can't be. I don't know. First off, why does it have to be 12 superstars too?
I think it's the general idea that NBA teams have 12 players, even though they don't really. But not really
If you
sure.
want to say that Ja is a up and coming star, he is important to his team. But we've also watched him go down in Desmond Bain carries. Hell, I think statistically, defensively, they were better with him off the court. He is a liability on that side of the ball.
No, I have to disagree. Ja directly.
Defensively?
No, not defensively. Ja directly
Oh.
contributes to winning. The Memphis Grizzlies were the 3 seed. Now I understand they massively underperformed. I think he's going to be coming under some hot seat next year because it's all right. Let's get it together. He's still 23 years old.
All right. All right. So I guess I won't put too much on Ja. However, Devin Booker, out of here.
Devin, what?
If we kicking Damian Lillard out, Devin Booker out of here. Luka
What?
out of here.
Okay, all right, Dre. You can't just
Jimmy Butler. If Jimmy Butler's out of here.
Who's in?
There aren't 12 superstars.
There are not 12 superstars.
Pull that image up, Joe. Because see, the argument against Jimmy is that during the regular season, clearly he's a winning player, but during the regular season, he don't perform, right? So Jimmy Butler had a great playoff run in the bubble, right?
Mhm.
A one great playoff run in the bubble, and then this year he's quote unquote cooking. But with Jimmy Cooks, the song "Go as Hard" as if it said Jimmy Cooks and then in parentheses, only 42% of the time, right?
That and I see. This is what I'm saying about Jimmy Butler. He has had a great run. He's had a great run before. I don't think that he's a superstar either. I
He's a
understand based off what he's done, that's why I can't really say anything right now. I think the Heat are fraud. Even if they get past this series, I don't think they're getting past the Celtics or Philadelphia. And I think the second round is just their cap, honestly.
same. But that's my point. We're giving him club superstar off of just playoff performance, right? I
Mm-hmm.
can't accept that. So he's out.
Yeah.
Devin Booker was Kyrie Irving before Chris Paul got there. Before they were able to build anything, they were just as bad. He had 70 points in L against my team. You can be great. You can be recognizable, but you can't be superstar.
Well, so
Right
he
now,
can't be a
it's
superstar for something that happened years ago?
how many? No, that's what I'm saying. Before he had help, like, okay, I'll put it this way. What success was Devin Booker having before he had another all-star?
Wait a second. I think I
Before Chris Paul got there, were we talking about Devin Booker as a consistently great player, a playoff performer? He was a
well, no,
recognizable name.
I
He
don't
was
I
a
don't
great
agree with
player, a good player.
with the logic that you're doing here. So, okay, the same can be said for Steph, right? He's obviously a superstar. But then we could say, oh, well, he wasn't a superstar before. They had multiple Hall of
No, no, no,
Famers
no,
on the
no, 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 no,
team,
no,
and he
no,
did
no, no,
all
no,
of
no,
this.
no, no.
You have to look
No,
at
it's not the same.
the
Steph is
contribution.
Steph was cooking, and then they started performing in the playoffs, and then he's a winner, and he's done it multiple times
Devin
over.
Booker was performing. You just said he had 70 in a game. Then he got some help, some actual leadership. The Suns got it together a little bit. They went all the way to the finals.
Was he impacting winning consistently before the last three,
Those
4
were
years?
the
How long has
last
he been in the league?
Devin Booker, let me do a quick search. And no,
Demetrius.
he was not 26, came in the league in 2015. About what, 7, 8 years now?
This is going on year 7. So we're talking about what, 2 or 3 years he's been relevant because of being okay in the playoffs. And then he folded in the Western Conference Finals.
Exactly. You are right. But I think what he's doing now is he's righting those wrongs. I believe he's taking the next step. I'm honestly surprised. I thought when KD got there, it was going to be the KD show and Devin Booker every now and then. But it's not. It's been Devin Booker.
If he does it this year and then next year, I will give him superstar. He's a star. He's a recognizable name, but superstar, I'm not putting AD in that conversation. There are
Dre,
not
what in
12
the world? So
superstars.
who's a superstar? Steph,
So
LeBron, Giannis?
Steph, LeBron, Giannis, Embiid, and that's it.
Jokic isn't a superstar?
If he get out of this round, if he get to a finals, I'll give you
And not
superstar.
everybody can go. Listen, okay. It's not
Wait,
just
wait, wait. See, I'll
you
put it
got
this way. How many superstars, I'll put it this way. In the era of LeBron or the 2000s, how many superstars were there? Guys that you knew would perform in and out day and night, regardless of situation, barring injury. Kobe,
LeBron,
LeBron,
Shaq,
Shaq, Tim
D Wade,
Duncan, D
Tim
Wade.
Duncan.
How many people is that, Joe?
Well, you got to give me some time to think.
That when
So there
nobody
ain't no
else performed,
superstars in
you
Boston.
expected them
There's
to.
nobody you would say was a
Okay,
super
so Paul
genius.
Pierce and Kevin Garnett, but that's the thing. But that's what I'm saying. There weren't that many superstars.
See, this is okay. This is where an interesting point that I think is a thing. Is it's not the same team by team. You know what I mean? In terms of the contribution that you have to have a consistent, I don't know, superstar type performance. Joel Embiid is a superstar. They are over there in MVP.
He's the MVP. He is the MVP. He's been consistent over X amount of years. He
Nikola
clearly impacts
Jokic
winnings.
is a superstar. In fact, I
I
would
said,
say
I'll give you Jokic, but if he gets out of the playoffs this year, I'll give him superstar. He's a star.
no. Even if they lose this round, he's shown me now, based off of having a 53-point game. Right? They have massively underperformed the past couple of years, but now I'm seeing Jokic having 53, having triple doubles, very clearly being the best player on the team. If they're not able to get out now, we're going to have to take a step back and say, okay, what's going on with the team? Well, you very obviously have people aren't just putting up 53 points in a playoff game. So I can't say it's on Jokic, if they're not able to advance. Looking at Devin Booker, I can't say.
But I can't give you that.
Okay.
I can't. Okay, you said it's not on Jokic if they don't get out, if they don't win a playoff game, right? Superstar. When no one else performs, go win this game.
That's what a 53-point performance is.
But you said if they lose, Jokic isn't going to get all of the heat. Jamal Murray didn't perform. He didn't shoot the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
Will Braun didn't shoot the ball well tonight. Octavius Caldwell-Pope was 1 for 7. When LeBron loses, LeBron is at fault. Whether everybody consistent on it or not, LeBron is at fault. When Embiid doesn't win, it's not, James Harden didn't have a good game tonight. It's Embiid underperformed. When Giannis loses, Giannis is getting killed.
No, take a step back. First of all,
think about it. Go ahead.
You said you wouldn't have AD and superstar. It's not one, especially at this point, it's not on LeBron to make sure the Lakers win. It's on AD. When AD doesn't play up to his potential, the Lakers normally lose, and we're saying, okay, what's going on with AD? Is it injuries? Why is he not giving full effort? What's going on?
No, we're surprised that LeBron didn't break out of the closet and have another turn back the clock game.
But at this point, we know what LeBron, we know what Steph. Honestly, we know what Embiid are. There will be a night where they might do, they'll go a little extra crazy. But for the most part, we know what we're getting. They've been superstars for so long that their presence alone kind of dictates a game, right? Even if Steph's really not doing anything, him just jogging up and down the court is a problem.
But him jogging up and down the court is giving you 20 easy points. And that same 20 can turn into 50.
Exactly. And he'll still pull out one of those old tricks. Same for LeBron. You're going to get you somewhere between 20 and 30. He's going to get his assists. He's going to get his rebounds. He might turn up on you one night. Okay.
That's what?
That's a flash from the past.
Consistency.
But consistency. But at the same time, we're looking at AD to carry the Lakers, if we're being honest. Even with the Sixers, they're still Joel Embiid is the MVP, but I think there's still that consensus that we're going to need something from James Harden along this journey. What do you mean? No, the man.
Tyrese Maxey has been more consistent than James Harden. If Embiid gives you his average 32, 11, and 4, they win the game. He's going to get killed. He showed up small tonight. Jokic, okay, I'll give you Jokic is quote unquote a superstar. But there aren't 12 superstars. There are a lot of star athletes. There are a lot of celebrity athletes. There are a lot of great recognizable names. I'm going to give you a point. I'm going to give you a great example. From that list of people waiting, Shea has been on I agree with you. If somebody comes out, Shea is kicking them out. Shea has been consistently getting better. The team is getting better. And I feel like they're going to take another step, right?
Just to mention, interestingly, in this image here, Kawhi Leonard, who was basically the catalyst for that trade that got
never deserved to be there.
Out of LA, just so happened to be getting kicked out. Kawhi, he's not coming back, by the way. Chris Paul either, so we can go ahead and get them off the.
Chris Paul is because of age, not because of what's it called. It's because of age and attrition. Like he just can't perform the way he used to. I'm not mad at that one. He shouldn't have had him pushing Chris Paul. But get Uncle Phil and throw Kawhi Leonard off the roof.
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard never deserved to be there. I'm gonna stand on that.
Mentioning the group waiting to get in, I also think De'Aaron Fox is gonna turn into a superstar. Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Edwards, I don't see it.
When did De'Aaron Fox get drafted? And you know what? I think a part of it is we might be holding this generation of up and coming players to a standard that's too high.
I don't think that's
I'll put it this way: superstar. When it got to around year 7 for LeBron, it's like, all right, when you gonna start getting to that third round, the finals. Kevin Durant's year 7. Hey, come on, pick it. Like, when you gonna pick it up? Jason Tatum, we're putting that pressure on now. Like, Anthony Davis, I said I can't put him there because until he got to LeBron, he wasn't. If he was getting, he might make the playoffs, and then when he might make the playoffs, he getting kicked first round.
That's true. That's true. But again, kind of think a little bit more recently. I think Anthony Davis with a decent team, yeah, they're still going to be a problem. I don't like how smug Jason Tatum is looking because I feel like he's teetering.
If I have to add when healthy, that's why Kawhi's gone. AD might be sneaking back in.
Yeah.
And he had a better season. Like, this is the first season that we've seen Anthony Davis be closer to what we thought he was going to be, or what he needed to be in LA the whole time.
Right.
When
yeah.
It's like when Anthony Davis is on, when he's engaged, when he's healthy, he's the DPOY because he showed you that. He took Jaren Jackson Jr. out of the game. That's another All-Star. That's an MVP, but that's the NBA player award player, winner. Anthony Davis is a cheat code when engaged, right? So this is the first season we're seeing that since he's been in LA. You could argue since he's been in New Orleans. And in New Orleans, we weren't expecting him to win anything serious. It's like, hey, they made it to the playoffs to get swept. So I can't give him another season. I'll give him that stipulation. Another season of this, you got it. He's a star. He's a star, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm not putting De'Aaron Fox in that waiting line either.
You're not putting him in the waiting line?
No, I can't put him in the waiting line because there was an argument on whether they should trade him or Tyrese Halliburton. And Tyrese Halliburton might have been an all-star if in Indiana with Buddy Hield, if he wasn't injured this season, if he didn't get hurt this season. I can't. De'Aaron Fox is John Wall turned down.
Literally was the clutchest player this year. They created an award and he won it. So it's an objective fact. So we're talking about
and what did all that clutchness do in the playoffs?
Right? Who contribute to wins, right?
That's contribute to wins that when it matters. What did all that?
He went 7 with the defending champions, and he was injured. And I mean, Domantas Sabonis,
Cancun,
Barnes.
Oh, you mean the dude they replaced? They used KD to replace.
Hmm?
You mean the dude that KD replaced?
Listen. I'm not saying De'Aaron Fox is in a superstar yet. If he goes to the playoffs next year and they win a series, I'm ready to put him in there.
He's good. Consistency. You got one good year. You got one all-star great year. Do it again. Then we can have the conversation. The superstar, Steph Curry, showed up.
As I'm thinking about it more and I'm just kind of looking at the league, I think you're right. I think this year, 12 is a good number to have. It's like kind of the traditional basketball number again. Yeah. But you're right. I don't think this year, based off of what was shown, we have 12 superstars, actually. I think that we do at the same time in terms of like talent and where people are going to get to. But based off of this year has just been kind of weird, And I feel like we haven't seen.
This year is proving that the bubble basketball was not a fluke.
What is that? Are we recreating a bubble?
No, I'm saying this is proving that it wasn't when AD is completely healthy or mostly engaged, and then LeBron is LeBron, and you got some pieces, and then Jimmy Butler carrying without Tyler Hero this time.
That's true.
You got, at least for the Lakers, it's proven that bubble wasn't a fluke.
Everybody had already known that.
I don't know, because I'm tired of hearing all Disney and Mickey Mouse and Lil Mickey. I'm sick of hearing that. Because your team did the Clippers, that's why Kawhi Leonard ain't there. The Flippers didn't want to be there. I'm just saying.
Ooh, excuse me.
But yeah, we can wrap it. I don't believe there are 12 superstars. At most, I'll give you 7. The people that we expect to be at the end of the season, barring injury, there's always that caveat because injury does affect things. The guys that we expect to see in the second, third round, playing later into the year, those guys, those are the ones that we want to come. So Dame can't be there because we never expected that out of him, and that's partially because of where he is. Like, it's important. Like, if he was in LA, all right, yeah, we gonna like with the Lakers team right now. Okay, yeah, we'd have to put some pressure on him, but even still, Luka can't put him there yet. He's a star. He's on his way. He was the favorite to win MVP, and then he didn't even make the play. He didn't make the play in. They created a stipulation for you to play 1 to 2 games to solidify a playoff spot, and you couldn't get the opportunity to get the opportunity. Think about it. And I love Luka. I bought the brother's shoes. It's fun. It was so fun watching him disrespect the Suns. Not Chris Paul necessarily, but Devin Booker, like, laughing in his face. That is premium. I love it.
Well, is there any leniency for Luka because they went into Kyrie business for a little bit and they were in the Spencer Dinwiddie business and they just kind of need the team. Oh no, okay, good.
No, I would argue that it makes Luka look worse. 2 of his 2 backups, Spencer Dinwiddie, one of his backups just won a game in the playoffs.
Yeah. Every time that's a bad look.
And as a number 1, or I guess for the Knicks, he's a 1B. It's like him and Julius Randle toss it up give it a night. One of them might be carrying. Like, I won't say Spencer Dinwiddie because the Nets made it off of mostly when KD and Kyrie were still there. So I won't say that. But Spencer Dinwiddie at one point was being argued as a potential like all-star replacement, which is significant. There are 400 players in the league, and then if somebody gets injured, hey, maybe we should give him a nod because he's playing really well behind Luka. Spencer Dinwiddie is solid. He's just not consistent. That's why he's not in the quote-unquote number 1. He's a great backup, excellent backup. But one of Luka's backups went and became one of the 2 best players on a team and just won a playoff game. And it's smaller, doesn't have because quote-unquote smaller players don't have the same defensive capability, right? You expect more from a guy defensively that's playing 6'7" than a guy that's 6'1", right? Luka's 6'7", 6'8". So I'm just saying, I do not. Oh my God! Yeah, I think this series might be cooked. We might have called that one great, Joe. They're down by 20.
Who's down by 20?
The Phoenix Suns, minimal dog.
Yikes!
Yeah.
This right here, I understand they're down by 20. You're at home. I was just arguing for Devin Booker and Club Superstar. This is where you make a defining moment right here.
I don't watch them miss some very missable shots. Okay, so now they're down 19, but I mean, we'll see. But I just and also, can we stop respectfully? Can we stop hyping Cameron Payne? He had like 2 or 3 good games like 2 years ago when they got cooked by Luka, which might have also been a fluke in the playoffs so far.
The Suns are just so shallow on their team right now that they're looking for anybody who can hit a couple layups in a row, honestly. I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do this offseason to kind of start replacing some of that depth that they lost, especially Mikal Bridges. I really feel like that was an underrated piece that they gave up.
They gave up on. Mikal Bridges is at worst a great number 2.
This is actually going to pivot us into our next thing. Former defensive player, not defensive player, but all defensive team player as well.
Speaking of, he legit plays both ends.
Defensive team, our first and second teams have been announced. I'm going to do a quick read through. All defensive second team, Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat, OG Anunoby of the Raptors, Dylan Brooks, the Bear Poker of the Memphis Grizzlies, Draymond, Hot Steppin' Green of the Warriors, and Derek White of your Boston Celtics.
Hot Steppin' Green, that's hilarious.
And a quick run through of the first team. We have Alex Caruso.
Damn, it was stomped a yard. Alex Caruso's on top. What number? Yeah.
Former Laker.
Former
Drew
Laker.
Holiday of the Bucks. Brooke
No.
Lopez of the Bucks. Jaren Jackson of the Grizzlies. And Evan Mobley of the Cavs. Minutes after these got released, Giannis actually went to Twitter and said he was tired of the disrespect and he's coming.
This is my prime like argument for they need to release some of these before the playoffs.
They're regular season awards, but I understand.
Because I don't want to hear a singular thing about Drew Holiday, Dylan Brooks. Joe, how many of those players that you just named are currently in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Now, I know defense is a team sport and this is an individualistic award. You're one of the best defenders. But when you got multiple guys on your team respected in these awards and you get cooked,
it's a terrible look for the Bucks. You have two on the first team, and you have Giannis, who by the way has legitimate, reason to say like, "Hey, I'm a pretty great defensive player." And Giannis got swept.
I'm gonna take it one step further. The Bucks. We watched Jimmy Butler become Jordan and Kobe against primarily what most people, and I agree, Drew Holiday is an underrated overall player, but we watched Jimmy Butler go absolutely bananas, and it was like there was nothing that Drew Holiday could begin to try to do. And then Giannis, I understand he's tired of the disrespect. He should have had his big Greek god ass on Jimmy Butler on them last couple of plays. Not jumping. You want somebody to jump at the ball, send the dude who was in a dunk contest. Send Pat Connaughton. Why is Brooke Lopez in the back? Or why are you Giannis guarding Duncan Robinson? How many minutes has he got in the playoffs? 25 collectively? Duncan Robinson has fell off since the bubble. Respectfully, he's a great shooter.
Had a good game last night. We're not going to stand for the Duncan Robinson disrespect.
How many games have we played in the playoffs so far?
Because it's only as good as your last game.
Well, all right. Well, why is Luke in Club Superstar? Took. All right.
Wasn't good enough in his last game.
He wasn't good enough in his last game. Get him out of here. But no, I'm saying, okay, so, but I'm saying, why are you picking you side of the disrespect not being on an all-NBA, all defensive team? Take the assignment. We respected, Giannis got DPOY. First off, he's already, I would say this season he got too comfortable because you saw when LeBron, when it came down to it, LeBron was rotating. He blocked the Thiago Splitter dunk, right? That's a game-changing moment. He put his butt in the chair and guarded Derrick Rose in that Bulls series. You would see he literally can rotate 1 through 5, right? Giannis has the same ability. He's bigger. He might be as fast. He's longer. But Giannis will he came out of nowhere and got a block. Okay, cool. But take the assignment. Guard the Kevin Durant. Guard Steph Curry. You don't have to do every possession, but be the primary defender on the other guys. That's how you get this recognition, quote unquote, right? And he knows that. He already won DPOY. He's two-time, ain't he?
Yes,
he's two-time DPOY.
Well, to that same point, though, I completely agree with what you're saying on whatever that game was against the Heat this year, in which they just kind of did lob to Jimmy Butler. Yeah, you got to be there, Giannis. And if you are there, just by the length of your arms, that pass isn't getting through. But in general, do you think that it's more so a defensive scheming kind of coaching issue? You kind of want Giannis near the rim as your rim protector, getting the rebound, starting to break?
I think, partially it was coaching. That's why Bud isn't there anymore. But beyond, I know it's like even if that was the call, you got to take that assignment. Kobe wasn't backing down from nobody. Hell, Paul George didn't back down from LeBron, and that was peak LeBron. We saw Victor Oladipo play LeBron, at least as the primary defender. He wasn't the only one because Lance was still, they brought Lance back, agitator, quote unquote. But you have you have a much lesser name player on that team, on that all defensive team, in Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso is one of the best defenders in the league right now. Now, you could argue it's opportunity because Lonzo wasn't there, but if he don't have the name or what to come, but Alex Caruso will sit. He will play defense. He will try to be a disruptor, and he's not as tall, fast, or as athletic as Giannis. So I don't want to hear Giannis talking about I'm tired of the disrespect. And then for the Bucks as a whole, I thought maybe Brook Lopez might be, he might have a chance to win DPOY, but he got cooked. I don't necessarily Jaren Jackson Jr. get out, and then the same with the Grizzlies. They got kicked in the first round too, and Dylan Brooks, as a quote-unquote all-second team defender, they need to release these awards before the season or before the playoffs, or at least earlier in the playoffs, because Evan Mobley, gone. Now, he is a great individual defender, but him and Jared Allen creates a oh, my Lord. Him and Jared Allen defensively, Jared Allen is a great rim protector, but then if you have Evan Mobley, he's a plus offensive player, and defensively, he's just as good. So, they create a bit of a redundancy, but all but one or two of these guys, all but one of them is out of the playoffs right now. I know defense is a team thing, but when Tony Allen was on the defensive when Tony Allen was in Memphis and then in Boston, the team as a whole was playing great defense, and then he stood out above them because he was that much better, right? That much better defensively, right? Like when he was in Memphis, there was a Grindhouse Grizzlies, and they were a tough-nosed defensive team. He was just the leader of the defense. So he would take the Kobe's, the LeBrons, the Kevin Durant's. But then Mike Conley was playing good defense. Marc Gasol was eventually won DPOY. I don't think he should have that season. That was the year he won over LeBron. But there was a culture, they actually played good team defense. None of these guys impacted defense or were defensive leaders enough to impact them winning. Hell, you could argue Dylan Brooks being such a defensive player. Now he was on the second team, but what's the only player who's on there? There's only two guys. It's Bam Adebayo, who's the most switchable big in the league, and Derek White. That's it.
Now we're going to get ready and transition to the all NBA teams. The only, I guess, little caveat I'm going to give to that is I hear what you're saying about the defensive players. It's not as impactful. And I think that's more of an indictment on the game. I think we've had a conversation a couple of weeks ago now about just, the rules of the game and basically how it favors offense so much. We were talking about the charge essentially. And you made a very good point. We can't take it away because that's one of the few things that,
the defense still has
in terms of defense and making a statement and changing momentum and things like that. Just the way that the game is changing, I just think even seeing in the future, people are going to be very good on the defensive side. And I just don't think that in and of itself. I think there used to be a time if you had, a first team all defense center. Yeah, that's a drastic,
it's a game changer
in the playoffs, especially. And I just don't think that in and of itself, it also is going to have to come with a certain amount of offensive production to have that impact carry over, especially into the postseason. So those were the all defensive teams. Going to be interesting to see who makes their way back next year. My early prediction is actually going to be Evan Mobley. I think he's going to be a mainstay. Draymond Green's old self just keeps finding a way to, keep kicking around.
Okay, so I lied. There are three. There are three players who are still in the playoffs. I forgot Draymond was on the second team.
Yeah. They might not be much longer after tomorrow night. All right, let's move to the All-NBA first team. We have Giannis. We have Luka. Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Everybody but Luka I'm okay with.
Second team, Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, Donovan Mitchell. The All-NBA third team, De'Aaron Fox, LeBron James, Damian Lillard, Julius Randle, and Domantas Sabonis. This is going to be the question to you, Dre. With those five players, and please let me know if you need me to rename anybody. You go to the court And these players are just there in their respective teams. Which team are you taking?
Do these teams am I taking? Okay, running back. Is this with my play style or am I'm coaching?
Let's say you're coaching.
Okay, running back.
Third team, De'Aaron Fox, LeBron, Damian Lillard, Julius Randle, Domantas Sabonis.
Okay.
Second team, Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler, Steph, Jokic, Donovan Mitchell. First team, Giannis, Luka, Embiid, SGA, and Tatum.
Okay, let me say this first. Jimmy Butler should not be on this team.
He shouldn't be on the second team?
He shouldn't be on the All-NBA performer team.
Not third?
I don't believe so. What did Jimmy... See, this is my problem.
Oh, one thing I did want to say that you mentioned earlier, too, is yes, I do think all these awards should be released prior to the postseason. Because now once the postseason starts and crazy things start happening, then you release it and they just look funny. Jimmy Butler, by the way, he averaged 23 points, 35% from three, 54% from the field, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals a game.
So 23, 5, and 5, and his team was in the play-in on the back end. So he got the opportunity to get in the playoffs. All right.
Advantage of it. So they took advantage of it too. I'm personally going with the second team.
I'm leaning that way. And Joe, why isn't LeBron on at least the second team?
Maybe games played.
I'd have to hear the explanation for that officially. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, we can see it. LeBron played. Okay, wait. We're going to go to Jimmy first because that's who we trying to watch it come here, right? Jimmy played 9 more games than LeBron this season and averaged 23, as you said, 5.9. So 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. And had
another all-star too.
Bam Adebayo's an all-star caliber player. He's a former all-star. Bam Adebayo's on the second team all defense.
You got me there.
Okay, and then LeBron.
He doesn't have another club superstar player.
I don't think it is really. When AD was out, who did you expect to carry?
Very true.
All right. LeBron played 55 games, averaged 29, shooting 50% from the field, 32 from the 3, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1 steal a game. Whoa. What's the argument for Jimmy being number 2?
This is what I think, right? Because listen, y'all, again.
To answer your question, I'm going team 2. Because team 2 was De'Aaron, Steph, Jimmy. No.
Jaylen Brown, Steph, Jimmy.
Jaylen Brown, Steph.
Jokic, Mitchell.
I'm going 3.
3?
I'm going 3.
De'Aaron Fox, LeBron, Damian Lillard, Julius Randle, and Domantas Sabonis?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And just a quick recap for team number 1. Giannis, Luka, Joel, Embiid.
Get out of here.
SGA, and Tatum.
Get out of here.
There's no way you're taking the third team for real.
You're asking me my play style. I don't think Jimmy should be on number 2. Fine. But if I have to coach a team, I can explain it. De'Aaron Fox did have a hell of a season, right? I put it. You say Donovan Mitchell on the second team? Absolutely not. Donovan Mitchell didn't
cooking this year.
Donovan Mitchell didn't do anything this season that he didn't do in Utah.
He was cooking in Utah.
To lose.
Oh,
He switched. What's homeboy's name? He switched Rudy Gobert for Jared Allen and Evan Mobley.
We aren't going to sit here and disrespect Donovan Mitchell either. Donovan Mitchell had a great year. He's been balling in Cleveland. They ran into a hot Knicks team.
Utah. What do these teams have in common?
Well, the Knicks were trying to get him. He might still end up making his way over there.
Cleveland. Utah.
Okay, Dre's just on his disrespect stuff tonight. That's all it comes down. There's no way we're taking that third team over any of the other two. There's no way. Julius Randle.
Karl Malone ain't coming back.
Damian Lillard.
LeBron ain't coming back.
Sabonis.
Huh?
Sabonis doesn't even have a chest anymore.
Well, okay, you talk about disrespect. That's insane. But Sabonis plays hard. He gets his way to rebounds.
No, man. They were getting bullied on the glass by the Warriors. The Warriors are the smallest team in the league.
Because he's not big, but I'd rather have Sabonis is Jokic light. He's not hefty. Jokic is heftier.
Well,
is he not?
Well, what's his diet plan going to be this summer then? Because he needs to get heftier, if that's what the problem is.
Jokic is just huge, so some of those fouls he can't
on the glass by Kevon Looney and Draymond Green.
Kevon Looney is a respectable rebounder.
No.
And Draymond is a future Hall of Famer, All-Star, former All-Star, and second team All-Defense. Don't do that.
He's a good player, but
he's a second team All-Defense this season.
No.
He averaged 7 rebounds during the season?
That's unacceptable. For them to get beat on the glass the way that they were.
But them as a community, he can't get 40 rebounds a game. Draymond doesn't get 40 rebounds a game.
Why can't he?
Huh?
Jokic be getting half that. Why can't he? Also,
Jokic
is on the second team. He came second in MVP. Are they both considered centers? I don't know.
They switched it this year. I did hear that. They switched it this season, so there was only, I think next season they're going positionless, so they might be able to be two centers, but they listed both of them. Because if you do power forward center, then maybe Jokic would have made it. And respectfully, he should have made it over Luka.
Because now I'm just curious for the first team, right? Giannis is a forward. Tatum is a forward.
You got two guards in the center.
Which one's the point guard, SGA or Luka?
They probably did SGA.
And we know Luka's a point guard, y'all. Let's not keep trying to keep the facade up.
He is, but that's my Luka shouldn't be in. He shouldn't have been on that.
Luka's going to be under suppression next year because Dallas is looking real funny now. Yeah, when you start having too many players coming through, yeah,
he's fun to watch. But Trae Young has been in the playoffs just as much.
Well, y'all, those were the all NBA first, second, and third team and defensive teams. Any predictions for who you think may drop off or any surprises we'll see next year before we move on?
Jaren Jackson Jr. will not be on the defensive player. He won't be team one next year. Draymond might fall off of that list. If Lonzo is healthy, Alex Caruso might fall into team two. Because as I say, I think it's partially because of opportunity. He got a lot more time on the floor because he was this impactful in LA. And you can see it. They kind of miss him. But they found Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves plays just as hard, but IQ-wise, I think Alex Caruso played like more higher IQ defense, and you could see it. Like team players legitimately shoot, I think like 8-10% worse per defensive or per possession against him, as opposed to most others. Like he's on team one. So I think if Lonzo is healthy, he won't be team one. He might be still on team defense because he's earned minutes, he's earned his rotation, he's earned his spot in the league. But other than that, I'm gonna say, because I don't know that anybody really. Sabonis might not make that team next year. De'Aaron might not make that team next year.
I feel like De'Aaron Fox might go up. I can see De'Aaron Fox going up if the Kings are able to replicate that success. And I can see SGA coming down more so based off of perception because now you've already been first team. Still think the Thunder are another year away from really making some sort of push. And it's hard for me to see him being first team again, doing virtually the same, kind of being a fringe play-in team.
I'll put it to you this way. My only pushback on De'Aaron with doing it or getting in there again, the league is so guard heavy, guard dense. Like forwards or other guys. First off, I don't think Luka should be. Luka is a point guard.
Yes, Luka
is a point guard. The same way that LeBron's a point guard. The percentage usage is almost the same. But we know LeBron does play bigger, quote unquote. He clearly plays more defense, etc. I think the league is, as I said, so guard heavy. Like I know Donovan Mitchell he played well. He played really well this season. But all that playing well hasn't impacted winning yet. So if he makes his way to the Knicks, how many more years do you have in this contract?
What do you mean it has an impact of winning? Weren't they the 4th seed?
To do what?
Okay, you have to win a certain amount of games to actually get to the playoffs. Now, yes, there is another level, but in terms of, again, these are regular season awards. The fact that he was the catalyst, the primary scorer on a Cavs team that's turned it around tremendously. But no, listen, this is the problem I have with Dre. Dre's a Celtics fan, all right? And as a result, they have the luxury of basically their season, they only worry about the playoffs and the finals and stuff like that. The regular season does still matter.
It does matter. I'm this way about the Celtics during the regular season because I know when it comes time for the playoffs, you need those reps. You need camaraderie. You need to know people's play style. Maybe you can go out there and pass the ball between somebody's legs and get some buckets. We old. We ain't never been 6'7". We ain't never had a 40-inch vertical. But we played with and against each other that long.
Mm-hmm.
We know what each other's favorites, etc. So I'm this way regardless. It doesn't matter who you are, right? But these are supposed to be the guys. It's the NBA and then the what? I'm drawing a blank, but like FIBA, I won't say FIBA League One, but it's like there are different levels to FIBA because Lord knows the Australian women's game that I watched a month or so ago was like tier D for crying out loud. The Indonesian games, them boys score 20. Me and you could go out there and if they make 5,000 a month, my boy, we starting the podcast in Indonesia. Coming to you live after just dropping off 40 and 12 because I decided not to pass the ball anymore. Like, respectfully, I'm sure there's some great athletes over there, but I'm 6'1" Jokic over there with a green light. So at least from what I've seen in some of them games. But my point is, you were saying your problem with me. So let's continue with that because I don't understand. Donovan Mitchell didn't do anything this season that he didn't do in Utah. He had a bigger outburst game, but we saw him. Okay, in the bubble, he had a couple good games, but you know who matched them good games? Jamal Murray. Are we calling Jamal Murray?
To this same point, though, I think we have to look at it. We looked at Donovan Mitchell in Utah, and we looked at Utah as a playoff team. Team that wasn't going to get there, but we're a perennial playoff team. Donovan Mitchell leaves, goes to Cleveland, a team who, since LeBron has left, has been a non-playoff team. Has them, in the middle of the pack. And where's Utah? At a certain point, we're going to have to say, okay, maybe Donovan Mitchell is contributing to some sort of winning basketball.
If you take away a former DPOY and a 25+ point per game scorer, you're going to fall apart unless you put decent pieces around it.
Well, okay, you have to put decent pieces around anything, don't you?
Technically, yes, but what are we saying? You could add Donovan Mitchell.
Having organizations actually build a team?
He didn't do anything different, is my point.
I'm not sure.
Whoa. And until the middle of the season, Utah was cooking. Was Lauri Markkanen not an all-star?
What do we? Okay,
you replace Lauri. You replace Donovan Mitchell with Lauri Markkanen, and they were the number 1 seed for a brick without Rudy Gobert, who was a complete non-factor, worst contract in the league objectively. Shout out to Minnesota. I'm sorry, Anthony Edwards, for that. Your front office is cooking you for at least the next 2 seasons with that contract. And then, so you replace Donovan Mitchell with Lauri Markkanen and some dudes. Who was on the Utah Jazz roster this year?
The Jazz.
Which one of them won an All-NBA award?
Well, maybe if Donovan Mitchell was there, one of them would have done it. Jordan Clarkson. Yeah, the Jazz. Listen, the Jazz were tanking. All right, we know what the Jazz were doing.
They were winning games.
They were failing at tanking.
You get my point, right? Because where did they fall in the standings? Huh?
I don't know. I haven't checked. And the NBA is so interesting because they do have that lottery as well. It's not even as simple as just losing.
Okay, so the Cavaliers with Donovan Mitchell as an All-NBA performer and an All-Star, and then with a second-team All-Defender were 51-31. The team with one All-Star who was respectfully Lauri Markkanen was 37-45. So the difference is 11 games with Donovan Mitchell.
The difference is a playoff spot.
To still lose.
Okay, only one team wins a year.
But he didn't improve. Him getting two. He had a defensive player of the year with Rudy Gobert, and the team was centered around him. And he beat Russell Westbrook in the shootout. He got kicked by the Nuggets the next year. But that's what I'm saying. He still lost in the playoffs. He impacted success on a young team. He's a great scoring option, but he was just as inconsistent. You could argue he was more inconsistent this year than he was in Utah.
Well, I guess that's why he was on the second team. So it sounds like you're saying he's falling off completely next year.
Not falling off, but I don't think he'll be on the second team. Maybe the third. But the guards are the league is so guard heavy. There's nothing stopping James Harden from having a breakout season or like a resurgent season next season and being recognized on the third team. And then one of them guys got to go.
Well, you're right. There is technically nothing stopping.
There's nothing stopping Josh Giddey from starting to cook because he was already
There's nothing stopping Bradley Beal from actually playing some games and getting on. But it's not going to happen.
But we don't know that. The league is so guard heavy.
We know that because we've seen.
And Donovan Mitchell is just as Swiss cheese on defense. If a team searches you out, Jamal, now don't disrespect to Jamal Murray. When healthy, he is the great option. But see, remember, Steph's offense is his defense. You can't. He in the Hall of Fame. He's already won a ring. He has nothing to prove. And he beat the Cuts player of the year. He beat somebody on the third team.
Fair point. Well, okay. There are all defensive teams and all NBA teams. Let us know what you guys think if you're listening. I'm going to go ahead and transition now out of the NBA, but don't worry, we're coming back. But, Dre, I have to give you the update. ESPN came out with their WNBA power rankings for this.
Okay, talk to me because I feel like this is slanderous.
We are now, first let me say, y'all, we are moving into the era of the super teams, quote unquote. We have the Las Vegas Aces coming in at number 1. Now they're defending champions, so I don't feel upset about that. Went 26-10 last year. They lost a couple of players. De'Erica Hamby was number 1. Actually got a little bit messy as well. She said that she was pregnant, and I believe she got traded. She says as a result. The Aces, of course, don't say that. Basically, it's coming out in there whether that was unprofessional or unethical of the Aces to do that.
There's no question
to her for having a son.
No question. That's unethical.
They brought in Alicia Clark, who used to play for the Wizards, actually. Alicia Clark is in her mid-30s, but she has a sweet shot from outside. Bringing back MVP Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum, who's married to Darren Waller, formerly of the Raiders, Jackie Young, and Chelsea Gray. So, stacked squad, just coming off of a championship. Now, the New York Liberty were under 500 last year. I don't bang with the Liberty, I'll be honest with y'all. But bringing back Sabrina Ionescu, they brought in Brianna Stewart in free agency. They had a trade for Jonquel Jones, another huge player coming from the Connecticut Sun. I mean, they're really stacking the team over there. I don't think the Liberty are going to be as good as what they look like on paper. I think this is going to be kind of like when LeBron went to Miami that first year. It's a lot of pieces to try to get the fit together. Coming in at number 3, right, are Washington Mystics.
And you know what? The Mystics going to win it.
And the Mystics, we already know what it is. We already know. The majority of this, as we already discussed, is the fact that Elena Delle Donne is healthy, at least as far as we know. She's been essentially since we won the championship. Elena Delle Donne, I'm telling y'all now, is going for MVP. Barring any injuries, knock on wood. I don't think there's a player better in the WNBA. Let's round it out. Connecticut Sun coming in at number 4. Their big acquisition, or not big acquisition, but was the loss of Jonquel Jones, center. She's basically what would I even describe her? I think like peak Dwight Howard. The Wings coming in at 5, the Mercury at 6. Now the Mercury were an absolute mess last year. You had the whole Brittany Griner situation. Tina Charles left the team midway through the season because of contract issues. Skylar Diggins-Smith left at the end of the regular season last year, announcing that she was pregnant around the start of the playoffs.
Okay.
And they kind of just went cold turkey there. But Diana Taurasi is back, so interesting what happened there.
My personal goat, WNBA goat.
Lynx, Sparks, the Dream, Sky, Seattle Storm, and the Fever, who had the first overall pick this year, are still down at number 12.
Well, I'm gonna just get the rest of this out of here. The Mystics are gonna win. I'm sorry, Elena Delle Donne is that guy. I will admit I haven't cared too much about the WNBA because, like, I won't even say because I used to like a certain player, but I'm in a relationship now, so I can't say that out loud no more. Oddly enough, she used to play for the Aces, and yeah, no, it's the Mystics. I'm not trying to be funny. First off, New York Liberty, Jonquel Jones, how dare you? Respectfully, how dare you? Lead it. Yeah, but you know what? I agree with you. They're gonna have a lot of Courtney Vandersloot. That ain't gonna work. I've some of these people I have actually watched, so I'm not just picking names out. Like Hanzu, I don't know who you are. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, so I think you might have just gotten drafted because you don't even have a college here. But so some of these people I don't know, but some of you I have watched. There's only look. I hate to do it. There's only one ball. Stewie is gonna have the ball. So just saying. Beyond that, okay, go ahead.
I was going to say it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the Liberty are going to try to fit that together. And yes, y'all, we are all going to be watching along this year. Definitely want to bring some more exposure to the league. Want to see how things play out.
I got one more quick moment.
Mm-hmm.
The Las Vegas Aces, you should be ashamed of yourself. More specifically, Candace Parker.
Oh, how could I forget? Candace Parker did join the Aces.
If you don't get your I'm from Chicago, inner city, I played with the boys behind on a team. When has she not been on a super stacked team?
Candace Parker has bounced around a bit. Well, she only left the Sparks to go to Chicago.
But whoa, first off, is that right? Oh wow. Huh. Okay. I could comment on that one. I just saw stats and it was like, huh. Well, that's a thing. Yeah. Did I just no? Okay, no. Um, all I'm gonna say is because let me go to her. Her stats are insane. Maybe I just completely oversold it. Um, best plays of last season. Yeah, I don't care. Candace Parker, go to a team that needs help. All of this talk on these podcasts and sitting with D Wade and Zeke and go hoop. Respectfully, I am so tired of hearing how much of a dog you are, and then I look around and there are other dogs with you. The Sparks was stacked repeatedly. This team is stacked.
Now, yes, Asia Wilson, the MVP of the league last year, but Kelsey Plum is a straight dog.
That's what I'm saying. Kelsey Plum is a dog, bro. I recognize the name Chelsea Gray, Alexis Pete. Now some of these, as I said, some of these people I do like actually. No, that is the. I put it this way. That's where I was about to go. You went here. If you win this ring, I no longer get her off the screen. So tired of seeing the Kardashians, bro. My God. Anyway, like for somebody who don't see, I don't watch TV like that. I'm tired of seeing the Kardashians. But anyway, that's a whole nother podcast. It's a whole nother thing. But don't ever comment about KD or any other older NBA player going to get a ring because that's all this is. That is all this is. No, just no.
Especially, unfortunately, the fact that they're not going to be able to get that ring anyway.
And you know what? If you don't go out there and perform, I don't care what the team scheme is. I don't want to hear you talk trash about a single NBA player, JaVale McGee, nobody. If you aren't the third best option at best on this squad on a consistent basis, I don't want to hear from you about any real critique from an NBA player that's on the back end, quote unquote, of their career trying to figure it out to catch a ring. I don't like this. I don't like because she's still this is a what you call it. Like the WNBA is a little different from the league, right? She just had a good season, 14-8-4. Cool. She could still really impact winning. She could go to another team, a younger team. For as much as she talks about having these older players that still have some gas in the tank and go to younger teams and show them how it's done, do that. You can build your legacy doing that more, I believe. At least to me, I don't know. I don't know why you would get after, or I won't even say get after, but preach that about NBA players and then not take the opportunity to do the same.
Is that what she was? Now, as you guys can see, I don't keep up. Is she a broadcaster on a network?
I was a person that I used to, the only TV I watched was like NBA TV for a while. So she's been getting her reps in, quote unquote, with broadcasting when it comes, she's been on NBA TV a lot. But now she's like on actual ESPN broadcast, like NBA on TNT. They got Players Night, I think, with like every Tuesday when it's like her, forget the homeboy's name. Sometimes D Wade is on there. Jamal Crawford. They have a night with like players only. So like Shaq and Kenny and them, you get different faces. But she's somebody that I've heard repeatedly, and I will have to, and I'll go and find it, say that, some of these guys or some of these older players should take the opportunity to go and show some of these younger teams or show the younger players on their teams how to do it. What can you show Asia Wilson? What can you show Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum?
Well, she can still provide veteran leadership.
Sure, veteran leadership, but Carmelo wasn't, huh?
To the champions.
Yeah.
Look, she got to get that ring, and I don't blame her. It's just unfortunate that she's not going to be able to get it because the Mystics aren't going.
So
it's going to be exciting to see how
the up by 30
season play. Oh, okay, the Suns are done, y'all. It'll be exciting to see how
KD tipped in the bucket on the wrong.
out.
KD tipped in the ball on the wrong goal. When Kevin Durant turns into JaVale McGee, you're cooked.
We knew the Suns, they weren't going to do it this year.
I'm glad we called that earlier in this podcast. My word. What did I say, 11? That's crazy. 30?
When the WNBA finals come back here to DC, though, we'll definitely be live streaming from the building. So that way y'all gonna be from the start. Last point.
John, there will be a parade inside our city.
Main storylines to look out for this year. One, we're going to see how these super teams, quote unquote, are going to actually play out. Never know. Maybe they will work out and there may be a change within the league structure itself. Two, again, the return of Brittany Griner. I think the main question that's going to come of it is player safety and the concerns about having them play overseas in the off season. And if players aren't comfortable doing that for very understandable reasons,
right?
There's going to have to be some way in which we're making up that difference in salary loss. And I think I had another point, but I forgot it. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn us right back around. Dre, LeBron James' son, LeBron James Jr., Bronny, committed to USC, staying close to home. Predictions for Bronny James's college career, and where do you think he'll go in the NBA draft?
First, I just saw Dennis Rodman Jr. is actually joining that team now as well.
Okay.
So you could argue that
they also might number one recruit this year.
Isaiah Collier, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you could argue, and I think they're bringing two or three players back. You could argue we might have a chance to see what Bronny is made of when it comes to NCAA tournament. Everybody's going to, first off, he's LeBron James' son, and he has made a name for himself, right? I think 2 seasons ago or a season and a half ago, he was labeled as like the number 53 which is insane. I'm not trying to, like, how many players even play defense, at least in like upcoming drafts, plays defense as well as him. Like, you could watch that alone. But then he already shoots better than his father. 3-and-D player. That's what every team is begging for on a consistent basis, right? But okay, let's say we might have a chance to legitimately see him very soon in a NCAA like run, because every night every player is going to be going at him. And if you beat, it'd be like you're playing against LeBron. Oh, I beat Bronny's son. I have that on my resume. Look at the performance he had against LeBron James Jr., right? So I think he's going to have a solid season. I'm very safely going to say he's going top 10. He would have to have an epic collapse of a season for a team not to take even if he has a mid-season, because his stats, I don't think his stats are crazy. What does he average? Like 14 and probably like 6?
That sounds about right.
Like 14 and 6. So, and I know it's like, oh, that's not crazy, but college basketball, Bradley Beal, like, everybody was mad about that clip, but he made a valid point. When you get to the league, if you can score supremely, you can but most guys aren't going to get to the league off their scoring ability. Almost anybody that's in the league can put the ball in the hole given opportunity, right? It's the other things, right? So clearly Jokic is 6 foot, is like 7 foot, 7'1", but it's the fact that Jokic is 7'1", and he can shoot the ball like he can. And he's lost weight, so he can move a little bit better defensively. And while he's not an all defensive player, he impacts the game enough, right? He has a supreme passing ability. You bring the ball up. Like, these are the other things like that can make him that make him a premium player, right? So you have to find ways to stay on the court. LeBron James Jr. has found a way to have conversations and be recognized as a great athlete. And I think he already had like something with his knee, but recovered well and is playing hard. But he plays hard. He plays defense. He already does a lot of the other stuff. Offense, you could argue, is just as much opportunity as it is skill. Some people is skill and opportunity. Some people just straight up like skill. Like Tracy McGrady was skill. Kobe skill. But it's like I think even if he has a mediocre quote unquote season, averaging like 10-4, I think it'd be easy for him to get 14-5, right? Like to keep his numbers the same because he doesn't play like he's not a ball hog. I think he got the ability to go for 40, but he's not going. He doesn't have to be that guy to stay on the court. I don't think it would be crazy to think a team would take a quote unquote flyer on him in the top 10. I don't.
We completely disagree.
Really?
Yes, this is interesting. I was not expecting you to say that. So here's what I think is going to happen with his college career. I think that he's coming into US. First of all, I mean, let's be honest, right? You're LeBron James' son, right? With that being said, is I think that you have a certain amount of basketball IQ that's probably passed down, opportunity, resources. He's been playing high level basketball, even in high school and, on like the AAU circuit. With that said, I think him going to USC, again, they have the number one high school recruit at his position, right? You just said Dennis Rodman Jr. is coming. I mean, USC, they're kind of going through a rebrand. Their football team's kind of back, it seems like, turning into a hot spot. NIL deal, LeBron James Jr., Bronny, he's already been making money doing the other stuff, not on the basketball court, just
My face
online and
plan,
everything.
the
I think
underwear
this is as
line,
much of a
etc.
business decision as it is him going to just play basketball. I actually don't think he's going to come out this year. I know the assumption,
Really?
I know the assumption is okay. Whenever Bronny comes out, LeBron said he wants to play with him, but just kind of listening to LeBron talk more recently, especially since he made the commitment, it's a lot of hey, we just want him to do what's best for him and go on his journey. It's starting to just sound to me like, does Bronny even really want that? I do think that he will, like to play basketball at the highest level. I think he's going to end up staying for a second year. I do think he will be a first round pick, but probably late lottery.
Mm.
And I don't know if him and LeBron, I think him and LeBron will find a way to get on the team for the history's sake. But I don't know.
Indeed.
And don't get me wrong. I don't think that he's going to be a bad player or anything. I feel like scouts already aren't, I feel like they want him to be something. And he's not necessarily that. And he just needs a little bit more time to develop into, the consistent role that he can play in the league.
I hear you. I will argue, as I said, I don't think it's crazy to what's to come. Even if Bronny, quote unquote, comes off the bench or behind Isaiah Collier, Bronny has already proven he can be just as impactful with another number one, quote unquote, or a bigger guy on his team. Not the best what to come, but Mikey Williams. Now, AAU ball is a little different, but Bronny's game is consistent. Like per level, he's just gotten much better at his skill sets over this amount of time. He's made a name for himself. I don't think Isaiah Collier being at the same position will impact his ability to impact the game.
True. I actually agree with that. I think maybe the concern that I have is, first, I don't fully follow college basketball, but I just don't get the sense of say if he was going to North Carolina or Duke, even Connecticut. Connecticut keeps finding ways to go on these runs. I feel like it's going to be the tournament, and that's when you're going to get the chance to see, the future star shine. For some reason, I just don't get the feeling that USC is going to have. I feel like there's going to be a tension there because, well, hey, you've got these former players' sons there. You have the number one recruit, but at the same time, I just don't think they're going to make a run or they're going to be as impactful. I think certain players are going to put up some numbers and try to make the leap to the next level. But I don't know. Maybe I could be completely wrong. They might go and win a national championship and send their starting five to the league.
I don't think they need to. Because you just made a valid point. You just said something that USC is in the middle of a rebrand. If they can have one good season, get to the champ, because I don't think they've had a deep run this year.
No, even the Rockets went further.
I think if you get to the Elite Eight, I think going to one of those schools probably would have been what was expected. If Coach K was still here, he might go to Duke.
Yeah.
But I think going to one of those schools would be like, oh, Bronny went to a powerhouse or a blue blood, like one of these teams, so all the eyes will be on him. No, he's forcing. Okay, I'm drawing comparisons here. Kind of like you watching LeBron forcing you to watch him in Cleveland. You're going to be forced to watch USC games, right? If he can be a part of helping turn that team around, they make the Elite Eight. He's going.
I wish he would have went to UCLA then if he's going to be in Southern Cali.
But UCLA would have been a little expected too. How many NBA players have come out of USC? Honestly,
the first that comes to mind is Nick Young. Funny enough.
Was that two? Nah, that was Kelly Oubre. Let me see. USC USC NBA players because I got to see because we've already had a history of NBA players. So okay, so DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic are your big NBA names.
Mm.
So
interesting.
It said, University of Southern California. So Dwayne Dedman. Okay, Evan Mobley went there, but he's fairly new.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, if you say UCLA, I know off the top of my head, you got Kevin Love and Westbrook.
Yeah.
UCLA, Lonzo.
Holiday? Drew Holiday, I believe.
Drew Holiday. Yeah, like you got Drew Holiday, Westbrook, Norman Powell, Kevon Looney, Zach LaVine, Kevin Love, as I said, Bill Walton, Jamal Wilkes, Gail Goodrich. You just got a much deeper Darren Collison. I guess Aaron Holiday, because he would have gone too. Mark, you have a bigger history of players more prominent players coming out of UCLA than USC. He would be able to have, hey, he helped bring USC's program, or so that they have a decent program over there. And if LeBron James' son went there, why can't I go? UCLA, I feel like is a bit more, like flashy or showy.
It's been a minute since they've won it all, but they're still
it's still respectable. I haven't heard of USC. As I said, those USC guys, DeMar DeRozan and Taj Gibson. Also, Ty Gibson. Who is that? It's supposed to be Taj Gibson, and then Nikola Vucevic. Those are your quote unquote notable names. No, I'm not counting Gabe Pruitt and Dwayne Dedman. No disrespect, Dwayne Dedman has been playing a decent role for Miami this season. Jordan McLaughlin, like Bronny, automatically top 5 if we graduate, if we leave, if we come go to USC. But then I think too, it's the part of like being able to be close to home. So if he is like, not that he sit with LeBron every game or but they want to go to a game, at least home games, you're a little more accessible. You don't have to go to like Duke or Ohio State halfway across the country to like this semi-familiar territory. He's still because that's the thing. That's why Bron said, of course, he could have gone to any school and been, the number one option, but going to Sierra Canyon, you got guys that are going to, like, every day you're playing against, Mikey Williams, or, you're playing against these guys that are high level, and clearly their goal is to go to the league as well. Mm-hmm. So by the time, no disrespect to the guys he plays against, but if I'm playing defense against Jordan every day, I'm playing defense against LeBron, Kobe, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, whoever it is. Like iron sharpens iron. I might not be iron, but if I keep going against it and I survive, I don't crack. If I can survive that, or I can slow them down one game. It's like they usually go 10 for 12, and I've gotten to 8 to 12. I know I can do something. If I can stop him, if I can slow down Kobe or even contest Kobe, I can stop Nick Young. You know what I'm saying? Like, no disrespect to Nick Young.
Mm-hmm. But that's a good point. Now I'm curious. I know that USC, UCLA are making the move from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten. I'm curious to see how it's going to play out with him at USC if they are still in the Pac-12 this year. To that same point that you're making about just the talent that you're going up against as well. Of course, there's talent all across the country, but you also have certain kind of hot pockets for it in certain teams. So I'm just curious to see how some of the competition they'll be going against, and hopefully they are able to make it into the tournament and go on a little bit of a run so we can see, how the team is stacking up.
Right. I'm looking at the coaching staff to see how many of these guys might have been in the league or had like what's it called. I see Eric Mobley, so that's clearly Evan's father, more than likely.
Because no disrespect, but I just don't know what I would think about him having a good game against the Utes of Utah on a Tuesday night.
Yes, yeah.
Said that I need to double check and make sure that I'm not even incorrect. They may have been great last year. Well, shouts out to Bronny. Congratulations. As LeBron said, the first in his family to go to college.
I did see that, and that's crazy to imagine, but that is the reality for a lot of people that look like us.
That's funny. Sometimes you got to stop and actually think about it. But yeah, definitely exciting for the family and for him. Last thing I wanted to ask about Dre as we get ready to get out of here. Nikola Jokic, do you think he should have been suspended for pushing the Suns owner in game 4, I believe?
I believe he was fined, correct?
He was fined $25,000.
See, it's crazy. As you said, Nikola Jokic, as they go up by 20, so back up by 27, he does an up fake and then does a left hand loud pass to Aaron Gordon for a dunk, which is just like to watch. It's like, whoa, it's kind of crazy. But he does this every night.
12 of 14 right now. He is 12 of 14 in his shot so far for this game.
Yeah, he smooth, missed the layup, got his own rebound, and put it back up.
Ridiculous.
Oh my God. Michael Porter, I'm about to say, if you don't finish that, he's playing Tim Duncan. He's turned around and dumping the ball off. What's his stat line right now? Because I said 27, 10, and 4. No, 27, 10, and 7. What is stat line right
now? 24, 7, and 8.
Why don't I ever put bets in on days like this? 3 points and 2 rebounds away from calling it in the third quarter with up all the points. It's crazy. Anyway, see, Jokic might be one of the bigger conundrums because I think the league is more afraid of his brothers than him. But he's also such a large presence. It boils down to, well, see, I got one question I genuinely don't know the answer to. Did Russ get suspended for going up into that box this offseason?
No, Russell Westbrook didn't get suspended.
So you can't suspend Jokic.
Hold on, you need to refresh my memory. Russ going up into the box.
Russ went up into like one of the suites this year with the Clippers after they won a game. I think it was after they won a game. It was in Phoenix, oddly enough, I believe. And he got all the way into like a suite, and there was somebody that looked like they were security, like with him. I don't know how, but he was basically just like talking crap at me, talking shit. So I'm just curious if he didn't get suspended for that game, and also they know the optics. See, Cameron Payne, you are down by 23 points right now. You make a 3-pointer. Don't go jumping around. See, look, least impact. This is what I'm talking about. Empty stats, 22 points. He's 6 for 6 from 3. They scored 91-68.
Well, he needs more help.
I told you, Kevin Durant turned into what's it called? This man Jokic isn't even like jumping to shoot layups, like hook shots and stuff. Like this is insane. That was a push-off, but they didn't call it. So, wow.
I just checked out the clip of Russell Westbrook, and he's just up there talking trash.
But that's the thing. How did he get that deep into the facility of an away arena with no repercussions from anyone? That was my point.
Okay, listen. So here's my thoughts on it. Jokic should have been suspended, right? The reason that because I was on the fence about it until the post-game press conference, in which him and his coach got up there and they basically said, hey, don't be holding the ball. To which the reporters then said, oh, that wasn't a fan, it was the Suns owner. The response, and I quote
Okay, I haven't heard this.
I don't give a shit. Which to me says that whether or not, see, here's the thing, right? When I first thought, I was like, okay, that's kind of wild. But then they said, oh, it was the Suns owner. And I'm like, okay, this is a different level here. Players, owners, they I'm not assuming they're friends, but it's different than a fan player relationship.
Right.
For them to say, oh, we didn't care, we thought it was a fan. Here's what I need everybody to do before they have an opinion. We just go on YouTube, type in Malice in the Palace, and understand why we can't have players pushing fans. Another thing that bothered me is that a fan did actually get kicked out because after he pushed the owner, a fan gave him like a slight shove, which I'm not necessarily mad at because, again, we can't have that happening. But it just rubbed me the wrong way that, okay, we're going to throw a small fine and nothing happens with the owner. But the fan who paid to be there, he's getting kicked out.
Let's define small fine as $25K. Realize what Joe said.
Let me guess. Sorry. Let me 20 small fine for an NBA, all NBA player there, not for Dre and Joe. But yeah, you just can't have that happen. You can't have. I understand you're trying to get the ball back, and shout out to the owner for flopping too. That was definitely a good flop there.
He must have learned from the best.
Yeah, they might need to teach some of the players or something because they're getting blown out right now.
I'm saying he learned from the best.
There's so many ways for that to go wrong, but those are just my thoughts on that.
I will say it's not as huge of an issue, but considering what it could have became, neither party, two wrongs don't make a right. Both parties are wrong. You know that your player, I think it was Josh Okogie, was up there in the draft, just laid out, to trying to make a hustle play. Mm-hmm. And then Jokic just trying to use the IQs like, hey, get the ball up. He's 4-on-5 or 5-on-4. So it's both like, no, you don't hold on to the ball. Like you should give the ball up to the referee. At that point, I'm not trying to be funny. If that happens again, maybe we should find the owner. Penalize the owner. Like if it's an owner, if you would kick a fan out, delay a game.
But this is the thing, right? It's not like Jokic can take the ball and inbound. The referee has to get the ball.
But that's what I'm saying. But you're stopping the referee. You're stopping the progression of the play.
The referee asked for the ball. Because it's also at the ref's discretion is like if a player just went crashing into the stands to see if, okay, does the game need to be stopped? Is this player injured? Do we need to
do that? I hear you. You're not wrong, but they don't do that.
Technically, I understand. They could also just be like, oh, fuck it, he need to get up.
Like, all right, buddy. Josh Okogie. If LeBron is in the stand, Josh Okogie.
But again, there's just no way Jokic should be the one. Okay, let me go take it from the fan. Let's say another actual basketball play just happened, right? Somebody goes up for a layup, the ball gets blocked, few rows into the stands. Is a player just going to jump into the third row and try to get the ball to hurry up? That's ridiculous.
Okay, well, no, see that. Okay, that's gas. That's gas again. That is gas again. Because if Isaiah like when Isaiah Thomas would have been in the stands to try to talk trash to the player, if I clear the bench and run into the stands and try to snatch it from, Amy DeSantis or whoever it is that happened to catch the ball, then you're doing too much. But if the ball is right there at the sideline, so it's within the realm of quote unquote play, like literally mere feet away from the floor, it's an IQ moment of what to come. I'm the owner and I'm holding on to the ball. Right?
Y'all are gassing the way he was holding on to the ball. He happened to catch it and was like the player was getting up.
Okay, but the player was getting up, but that's the thing. Technically speaking, that is impeding the progression of the ball, right? You are directly. It's not like you're a random. It's not like it's you and me sitting down there. Me and you like, oh, hey, got the ball. Here you go, 7-foot human.
You're correct to that point. I do think that the owner should bear some responsibility. But they got on the press conference and said they thought it was a fan. That's what my concern is.
How am I to know what the next team's owner look like? I might not know who my owner looks like.
So if you thought it was a fan, then why are you doing that?
Asking for the ball back? Give the ball up.
Oh, there's so much in this game from players who they've been talking about things that fans are saying. They're not doing anything physically, but things that they're saying are bothering us so much that we need them removed.
And this time, the fan was doing something physically.
No, there's too many. The referees, the staff at the arena, security. There's so many people who can get the ball back if it's that much of a problem.
But it's basketball. It could be the rucker and somebody on the sideline is holding the ball. Oh, yo, give me the ball, bro. Different too. This is the NBA.
The fan who pushed Jokic back then. If we just playing basketball.
Because the player who pushed Jokic back, or the dude who pushed Jokic back, is not paying the bills.
See.
He didn't get penalized because he's an owner. That's the problem.
Like I said, y'all, go and watch the Malice in the Palace. And when you're watching Steven Jackson and Ron Artest, before he was world peace, stomping folks out in the stands, this is why you need to.
I agree, but I don't know that if they suspended Jokic, they would have been giving Phoenix a layup of a game, which could arguably impact the rest of this playoffs. It would have been a bigger talking point than the fact that the Suns were the number one seed, number two, and the number one seed, and then actually just playing well as a team and clicking. That would have been the storyline, that Phoenix got an extra game, right? Or they would have been talking more about this than the actual basketball that was being played. So they fined him to penalize him, quote unquote, for what's it called, because it turns out that he pushed him or something, like there was extra quote unquote contact, right? It's just so much on the refs to be like, hey, give up the rock. And no matter who it is, right? No matter who is on the sideline or what's it called. If I have the ball needs to go back into play anyway. If you want to be extra, or your players getting up, toss it to the ref. You don't have to physically keep it away from the player. Because that's what you did, whether it was overt or not.
If
right?
7'1" Jokic is coming up on me, can I even see the ref?
You know what you're doing.
No, listen, the same thing with Draymond Green, right? Optics and things you just can't have happen. You can't have people A-Town stomping just to kind of say, hey, y'all, we know it's playoffs, it gets kind of rowdy. We can't have this, though.
You can't have an owner hanging on to the ball.
You can't have an owner hanging on to the ball. You're correct.
You also can't have
players pushing people they think are fans.
So is the problem that Jokic was a petulant child the way he usually is? Because he's done this shit before. He's just Jokic. He's not. I'm going.
And he needs him a good suspension.
Maybe if he doesn't, he don't look like Steven Jackson.
See, I didn't want to go there.
I went there.
That's another aspect of it right there.
He did. The problem is the owner bear no responsibility, and Jokic don't look like Steven Jackson. So to keep optics and the NBA can't piss off somebody that is actively paying players to right? He's an owner of an NBA team. So if you find him, it's like, oh wait, I can't catch the ball at my own game at my arena from the players that at an opponent that I'm then you could call something else. Then he could be the one person that doesn't let a bill slide. So yes, it's all politics to a degree. So the bigger issue is one of them pays and keeps money in the NBA's pockets. The other one, they had to, for optics' sake, they had to do something. At the end of the day, the NBA didn't really want to care.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like rock meet hard place. MVP candidate Jokic, the only reason the Nuggets are relevant and in the playoffs, and then owner of team that they're playing against has Kevin Durant pays one of our superstar players in the league. If we find him, he could cause problems for us when it comes to some of these collective bargaining agreements, pushing that one vote that you need to make something official, right? And then it becomes, if we find him, now you have a conversation with, what you could have done is had a conversation with both of them offline. But for the public's sake, he pushed an owner. Well, he pushed a fan because the owner's a fan. He's just a fan that makes billions. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And you could argue that's been a part of the That's what the players have been complaining about. Is that fans not even depending on where they sit, but it's like I paid money and I'm paying to come and see you perform. If you perform poorly, I deserve to say X, Y, or Z. I deserve to throw ice at you, popcorn, etc. It ain't really no different for an owner. So the owner is just a fan with a higher net worth that has more of a role within a team, right? Because you can't tell me Steve Ballmer isn't a fan. Like he loves him some Clippers, right? He's the ultimate fan. He's gonna be the loudest Clippers fan. He's gonna be the one screaming the most. He's gonna be the one most upset when he misses a game-winning free throw.
Mm-hmm.
But he also signs the checks.
That's all true. And actually, thank you for putting that all into perspective. It is strictly just politics when it comes down to it.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, and then we'll just leave it here, is that be careful with the precedents that you are setting. I feel like there's been some building tension between players and fans. Again, this is an owner, so it is technically different. But I'm just thinking of the optics of it and how much we're letting people get away with. And we're not that far removed from seeing brawls happen, all right? And I could just imagine.
We just saw players get spit on not 2 seasons ago. Popcorn thrown.
That stuff's ridiculous too. From the fan perspective, that stuff is absolutely ridiculous as well.
It's disgusting. Grow up.
It's ridiculous. Well, listen, y'all. We've been rocking for a minute now. We coming up on the end of episode 3, the 3P. 3 weeks.
Consistency, my lord. A whole month worth of podcast? We about to get 4 weeks of podcast?
That's a full month. Listen, we about to
scary hours.
We're about to turn off this live here on YouTube. Be sure to catch us on, what are we on? Apple, Spotify.
On Apple, Spotify, Stitcher. I got you.
Yeah, go ahead. Get us out of here.
All right. So this has been another episode of the Hoops and Henny Podcast. We greatly appreciate your listen. You can check us out on YouTube at Hoops and Henny. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe if you want. You can hit the notification bell. So anything that we do, shorts included, it'll come right to your phone. If you prefer audio, we are on Spotify, Google, Apple, Stitcher, even Overcast. Joe, you know we got to listen in Tanzania. You hear me? Got to listen in Tanzania and Germany, actually. So we're out here. If you happen to find us on audio platforms, give us a 5-star, give us a 4-star. Just the interaction. We want to know what you guys think. Feel free to answer any of the questions. And to brother, hey, isn't that left our first YouTube comment? Shout out to you. I hope you're listening. I hope you made it this far. If you did, you got a shout out. We're going to value our community, because without you guys, we might do this without you. But it's a lot more fun to build a community and to have conversations. And that's the whole point of this, you know? So with that being said, Joe, anything else?
No, I think that's it. It's been real. Y'all look forward to next week. NBA playoffs keep chucking along. WNBA season getting started. If anybody's watching this and there's anything else hoops related, please feel free to send. I don't care if it's your 6-year-old's little league game. We'll come out there and watch it too if we got to talk about it.
Send us the footage. I enjoy basketball.
100%.
I watched my Celtics get beat by 30 on a Tuesday night and was smiling.
And I'm a Wizards fan, so that should tell you everything it needs to know. Till next week.